This episode of Idle Thumbs is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the fastest, the easiest, the most user-friendly and intuitive way to make your very own professional website, portfolio, blog, or online store. If you go to squarespace.com and use the promo code THUMBS, you will get 10% towards your first purchase, and if you sign up for a year, you will get a free domain name thrown in there as well. That is squarespace.com with the promo code THUMBS.
Nice.
I feel so alone over here. I feel like I'm interrogating the three of you, or you're interrogating me, I guess is really what it is. Yeah. I feel like
interrogating the three of you.
Hey, I can handle it.
Good cop, bad couple.
I don't need any other cops. I know you did it.
I'm the cop.
One of the three of you.
Where the fuck were
Hands
all
up,
of
who
you?
done it?
It's February 16th, 2017.
This is Idle Thumbs 300. I'm Chris Remo.
I'm Nick Brecken.
I'm James Spafford.
I'm Jake Rodkin.
And I'm Steve Gaynor.
Hey, Steve!
Hey, everyone. So many hosts.
Yeah.
It's a fiver of hosts and more because we already recorded a segment with Sean, who had to leave early, but we will splice it into the podcast. And we are hoping Danielle will also join us remotely.
I thought that was going to be a new nickname for Sean there. Sean
the Splicer.
Sean Splicer. That's not a good name to have right
Famous
now.
Splicer. Ooh. What? There hasn't been a Bioshock 3 yet. They could introduce a famous Splicer.
That's true, yeah. The famous Splicer. It's the same guy.
Yeah.
similar guy.
So I guess we have some Idle Thumbs related housekeeping to get out of the way.
Yes.
Such as this podcast. Oh, sorry. No, go ahead, Chris.
This is we've very sort of confusingly said and then contradicted, I think, over the last several weeks. This is not necessarily the last episode of Idle Thumbs. We are planning to keep releasing episodes to this feed
week.
on a less regular basis, but we are going to definitely be doing fewer episodes of Idle Thumbs going forward. And what we will be doing every week is a new show called Important If True. If you go to importantiftrue.com, by the time this podcast goes up, the first full episode of that show should be released. You can get it on iTunes. It's on the Google Play, whatever that thing is. Any of your favorite podcast apps should be all set. It's called Important If True. We have a 5-minute teaser if you want to check it out, and the first full episode is already released. Jake and Nick and I recorded it last week and released it today. So that is our new show, but we are planning on continuing to put out Idle Thumbs episodes from time to time. Maybe we'll get more of the sort of pantheon of Thumbs hosts on from time to time. We think of fun reasons to get people in the studio. But yeah, please check out our new show, Important If True, because we are starting from zero and it's very scary, but we're excited about it, and we hope that those of you who have enjoyed us talking into microphones for the last 8 years will give us a chance with it.
Man, 8 years.
8 years, I know.
Gross. I mean, admittedly, there were approximately 2 to 3 years in there in which we didn't talk into microphones because that was when Idle Thumbs was canceled.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just one
Unlike now.
opportunity to completely ditch your audience and build it up from scratch. It's an Idle Thumbs tradition.
It totally is.
Yeah, we're on our third run of Idle Thumbs.
Yep.
Our third no audience run of Idle Thumbs.
More than that, if you go back even further than the podcast. So here we are. There are a bunch of us here. We're going to do a bunch of reader mail. Like we've been doing for the last few weeks. Why not?
So you would describe this as the ultimate bag blast.
Yeah, this is like mega blast. MegaBag blast. MegaBag.
Blast me in my MegaBag.
Steve, that is what I want to do. I want to blast you in your MegaBag, and no one can stop me.
Nor would they want to.
Some would. All right. Should we just get going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is from Mike. Mike writes, Dear Chris, how did you kick your Spelunky addiction? I am 689 hours into the Binding of Isaac Rebirth, most of that time spent with its daily runs. In the almost year and a half since the daily runs have started, I've quit one job, moved across the country, and started another. My life is entirely different, except I still come home from work and play the Binding of Isaac. The Spelunky daily challenges no longer have that kind of hold on you. Did you wean yourself off of them or stop cold turkey? Was there an external reason for stopping? I'd be very interested to know. Thanks, Mike. Even though this question is addressed to me, I will just pose it to all of us. Like,
why did I stop playing?
Well, no, I just mean not Spelunky necessarily.
I don't know why you stopped playing Spelunky, Chris.
Well,
I actually am curious to know the answer to this. I can't remember the day.
I can answer.
Because I lived with you at the time, and I remember there was a very clear,
there was an exact day.
moment.
Yeah, no, I can explain that.
Yeah.
But while I'm explaining it, if you guys have any stories about like game borderline addiction or anything like that, or like just habits that you broke, I want to hear what anyone else's version of that are. But mine was that I played the Spelunky Daily Challenge, and yeah, we were living together at the time, Nick, and we would sometimes stream us playing it back to back, which was fun. I played the Daily Challenge, Spelunky Daily Challenge, every single day for like 9 months or something. It was it was a ridiculous amount of time.
How long were those runs on average?
Oh my God. It was literally anywhere from 30 seconds to like an hour and a half. I mean, because it's, you have one death. And so if you eat shit immediately, which in Spelunky is more than possible. I mean, that's like a regular occurrence. It was, just an embarrassing disaster. But what happened was at Campo, we all went to Yosemite in 2013. Is that right?
Could have been 14. Probably 14.
2014, I think that's correct. And that, like, until that point, my Spelunky Daily Challenge had spanned, like, other trips. Like, I went on a, like, ex-Double Finer's ski trip, and I took my laptop with me, and, like, in the cabin each night, I, like, connected to the terrible Wi-Fi and, like, did the Daily Challenge. It was I went to crazy lengths to keep my streak going. But when we went to Yosemite, I'm like, well, I'm just not gonna do this. And so I had 3 days of enforced no Spelunky Daily Challenge, and that was it. It was literally
just
like
turkey,
it was just like breaking a magic spell. It actually felt like that because once I had skipped 3 days, I'm like, well, this has been so consistent for so long, and now I've broken the streak, and like,
yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, it just was a bummer. It was fine, but going back to it would have actually felt like a bummer, or at least that's how it seemed to me, because I no longer had the, like,
you lost
perfect...
the game of playing that game every day.
Exactly, yeah.
And so, game over, you're done.
Exactly. That's just how it felt. And
Turn in your gamer card.
Did it feel good?
It felt fine.
You didn't feel like...
No, I didn't. No, I didn't...
Relief or anything like that? Or
no,
just lost,
I have a weird... like relationship to habits and sort of like, because obviously that's not an addiction, but things that are sort of like patterns or habits where if no external like stimulus interrupts it, I will just keep doing it forever. But if something does, I'll just stop, and that's the end. And I feel like
that's a lot of people's experience with MMOs. Like,
you're
just like,
totally.
I just do MMO. I'm on every night, and then you go away for a long weekend, and you're like, my life is actually fine if I never do that again.
That was my exact
account.
World of Warcraft. The one MMO I ever played is World of Warcraft, and I played it for 6 months, and I had that. I was in college, and I had that exact experience.
Yeah. It always. I mean, it seems like one of those things where it's just like, you never wish that had taken longer to happen after it's happened.
right. It's
like,
always fine.
That was like months ago. That would have been nice. Oh, well.
Yep.
It's especially tougher with games now kind of designing themselves to keep you inside of them. Like
Yeah.
Spelunky, the daily challenge, I guess you could argue is that, but it's never saying you have to play every day. Or
Also,
you're
the way
gonna,
you described that made it sound even grosser than it should have. They designed themselves to keep you inside.
Isn't that how you designed
They
yourself?
do? These video games don't sound good after all.
You just get the game bag envelops you, and you've got to blast out of the bag.
And that's what this is.
I'm just saying you have to
I see,
blast
okay.
your way out of the bag. That's all I'm saying.
It sounds like that guy was. It was almost like a cry for help in asking. You
Yeah,
that, right.
Well,
So-
and Binding of Isaac is another game I played tons of. Although, I think when I don't have when there's no like structural element like there was with the daily challenge, I don't really get as sucked in to the bag. Like, and Spaff, what you were saying about games that sort of design themselves to like be for you to be inside of them all the time, that stuff has like the opposite effect on me. Like when I load up a sort of a modern era shooter in the mold of a Call of Duty or something, all of the persistence and like upgrades and crafting, that stuff actually, and I know that for a lot of people it's really compelling and satisfying and that's great, but for me it is a complete disincentive. Like I find it to be really like repellent and not like morally, but I just don't, it actually pushes me away. I'm like, I can see the mountain stretching up ahead of me and I'm like, I just don't even want to start. I just do not want to do this. It is totally like, has the exact opposite effect on me that it's supposed to. And so because so many games are doing that now, it actually makes it easier for me to not get sucked into them. So I don't know.
That's handy.
Isn't a game... I haven't played Overwatch, but isn't Overwatch kind of like walking the line there where it's like...
Yeah.
You don't upgrade. Everybody has the same abilities from square one, but it keeps you looped in by being like, come back every day to get your loot boxes or for this special event or whatever, but it's not like a progression.
Yeah, and a lot of that stuff is cosmetic things that are like
Yeah.
different skins and stuff like that. And that stuff is like that stuff I'm a lot more amenable to.
It's like why you keep coming back to Dota.
That's true. Oh, yeah. Yep, that's why I'm a Dota master. Yeah.
Nick, you sounded like you had a story to tell about Chris giving up. Like you.
Whoa.
super
No,
remembered
no,
it. Like
no.
It was a huge deal.
Right.
Like he was smashing everything. You know, like some.
Oh, you think I have like a
cigarettes
different
or-
take on
Yeah.
the day?
Is that
Oh yeah,
true?
no.
As he
I don't know
says it
what.
is?
No, I was just totally chill about it. It was totally fine. I don't think anyone could ever possibly have any other
Yeah.
perspective on the matter whatsoever. So
Right.
I think that's time for the next reader mail. No, I don't know. Do you
Oh no,
remember
you were in a
different?
fetal position on the floor crying. You don't remember that part where you were
I don't-
just yeah.
I was just curled up in my game.
All
game
that
bag.
whiskey drank
Right,
itself.
yeah. Just yeah,
That was my weird
bag off to
roommate.
the
That was
off to the
just our
side.
crazy
Yeah.
roommate.
I never met that guy, so I don't even
Yeah.
believe that's a true story.
Maybe, yeah. Nick and I just invented that guy to excuse all of our like heinous
Wyoming
He was like a
State
kind
Senator.
of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde scenario.
What's that?
It's just like your weird Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing.
Right.
Right.
Don't let
Yeah,
Brandon play
roommate.
Spelunky.
Oh yeah, that's why all that
That
cocaine
guy
was all
gets-
over
yeah.
the dining room table that one time.
Yeah, well, yeah. Chris is like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but he turns into a true gamer.
Oh man, that reminds me. There's been a
Speaking of true gamer,
reader mail I've been meaning to read for weeks, and I keep forgetting about it. Speaking of true gamers,
As we always are.
yeah, this is addressed to Nick.
Speaking of true gamers, Nick
Speaking
Brecken.
of true gamers, this is addressed to Nick. Now then,
So this is to Nick.
false gamers.
From Brady White. Yo, man, you're a great gamer, but you could be even better with the help of FatalGrips.com. Fatal Grips provide great grips and controller cases to help you hold your controller. Use code Brady White YouTube for 10% off at checkout. That was posted on
Wait,
Dark
sorry, that's
Souls
not
2
an
Happy
ad.
Hour,
Okay.
Part 11.
Oh, good.
Idle Thumbs.
In which my controller kept falling out of my hand.
do you
Clearly,
have
I
a
was just like,
problem
"Ooh."
holding your controller?
Well, you know, your hands get sweaty when you're fighting those bosses, Spaff. But true gamers,
Only the true gamer
gamers know
has
how to
the
hold
sweaty
on
palms.
to the last life bar.
Yeah.
Was there a 10% discount?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then
Use
I'll
Brady-
buy anything
Brady
that's got a
White
10%
Yeah.
show discount. Cool.
Yep. I just thought, because Nick, I know that you're a great gamer, but you could be even better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I've always felt that.
But the one
secretly,
problem you
but I
have
didn't
is-
want to admit it.
Is dropping the controller. That's the one thing that would make you better. If you didn't.
It's kind of a serious issue.
Nick just can't drop his controller. He's except that you went on a camping trip that one time and you just dropped your controller and that was that.
Is that like dropping the mic? Is that when you like just beat
Every time
someone?
Nick
I'll do that at the
beats
end of this podcast.
Perfect.
I will symbolically drop a keyboard.
That's fine.
But you could have with 10% off.
All right.
A keyboard could just be glued to your
There's
hand.
not a grip for a keyboard.
Or I mean,
what would that even be? That would be like tiny suction cups on each key or something. Like,
so you pull
Only
them,
on
so you
WASD.
pull them off.
Only
Yeah,
WASD is, yeah.
It's a security risk because then people can see exactly what keys you used.
because they'd be ripped off.
Because they'd be ripped off if your keyboard.
And you can only type each letter one time.
Yeah, that's true. You can only. There's like, what is that?
You would know a true gamer's keyboard because the WASD keys had been torn off.
Yeah.
It's
Password is-
extreme grip.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
going forward once,
Yep.
going backwards
Yeah.
once.
Yeah.
I mean, the true gamer would have ESDF torn off their keyboard.
True.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not ESDF, is it? It's.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, it is?
That's the true.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you're
Oh, hell
if you're
yeah.
good at
Wow.
it, if you want those additional nearby
Oh,
keys,
you're right. You're right.
If you want,
You're right.
If you want some left of directional adjacent binds.
Left of adjacent bind. Oh, the other. Yeah, the Q.
Just let's stop talking about this.
All right. All right. All right.
True gamer.
Do you guys have any gaming addiction
definition of a
stories,
true
or should we
gamer.
head on to a different thing? What?
What, Steve?
I said the definition of a true gamer is a guy that wants left of adjacent binds. I've seen that meme online.
So true.
Frequently.
You can look
We
that
all
up
know
in the
it.
dictionary and you'll find that.
True gamer. One who whatever. What's this email?
Photograph of Nick Brecken.
Well, so this is pretty cool. We got
you.
2 emails about this. First, Justin from LA writes, "Hey Thumbs, regarding your conversation last week about local multiplayer games and using different colors with 3D glasses to display separate images, a few years back, Sony released a 3D TV that does this exact thing. Instead of using color, it uses shutter speed. Each player wears a different pair of glasses adjusted to a shutter speed that's synced to their game view. To people viewing the game without the glasses, it essentially looks like 2 different games overlaid. To players with the glasses, it just looks like a normal full-screen game. I remember being blown away by this announcement, but never hearing anything after it launched, so I assumed it never really took off. Anyway, newer listeners here about the last 5 months, and your podcast has quickly become one of my favorite podcasts for gaming.
Oh no!
I pick a bad time to jump on board. Good luck with the new show. Keep on keeping on. Thanks, Justin from LA.
Please do not unsubscribe from this podcast feed. It will continue to have video game content that is crucial to your life. Also, listen to our new show.
Well, hold on real quick. Let me just
There's
follow up.
more to his email?
No, there's another email, but it's about the same topic.
Oh, okay.
Hey Thumbs, in episode 209.5, you were wondering how a game would look in which you overlay 2 different screens, etc. A friend and I were wondering about exactly the same thing, so we tried it. I'm really happy to say it works well. We bought a few old school 3D glasses and simply switched the filters around. Once we were done writing our shader, we witnessed something magical, and then there are images, one with a wireframe kind of first-person maze game, one with all tinted blue, one all tinted red, and you can see that it's on the same screen, but the maze is in
Right.
2 different positions. So this reader continues, "It's really cool how one player sees something completely different than the other. The sad news is that after writing the shader code and messing with some silly concepts, we got bored and left it to die on one of my repositories. If anybody feels like getting rich on this idea, they can feel free to visit github.com/Luke, SLUX/SYSS, and fork our shitty code. I hope you will gain some satisfaction in knowing that, yes, you do have good ideas sometimes. Cheers, Luke Vanderbrand. P.S. Nick, you're all right."
You have good ideas sometimes, comma, but I had it first and actually made the video game, unlike you idiots talking into a microphone about it.
I saw that stuff at E3, I'm sure of it.
The Sony one?
Yeah.
That-
it was
Yeah,
like
that was just a
3D.
TV. Yeah,
So yeah, that must have been
With
from the era when
It was
there
that-
was
yeah.
like
It was PS3.
5 years
Yeah.
ago or so when everyone was pushing 3D TVs in the home, and it was like, well, once everyone has a 3D TV in the home, surely we can extend that by having 1 and 2 players draw on the left and right 3D. That's going to be a way to extend this new standard technology, 3D in-home televisions.
See, so I understand the application for gaming because you can basically do split screen, but both of you get to have the whole screen. But all I'm picturing is the teen pitch where your mom's watching her soaps and then you come in and just put on your glasses and you're watching.
Yeah, that was definitely the pitch as well. I fucking remember that shit.
Oh, really?
And
Oh,
mom's
man.
just like, "Why are you putting on those glasses, honey?" It's like, "No reason."
I'm going to watch MTV all day. And you won't even know it, except that you, Mom, also have to be wearing glasses that I surreptitiously put over your eyes, tuned to your TV program.
Also, put on these headphones, and I'm gonna wear these headphones. No reason.
We can enjoy your favorite show together. I like it too.
I was really hopeful that someone would take that tech and use it for something interesting and, like, as in,
Like
I don't know,
secretly putting a dick butt on the screen.
But you're playing a game, and you put it on, and then you have your night vision mode or some shit. Like, it's part of the,
Oh, sure.
you know, a fun thing you're doing that's a
Right.
gimmicky, dumb thing. But I don't know. Like, there's something fun there.
Or like,
surely.
what if your two eyes were rendering two different things,
Your two eyes.
two eyes,
and then it
but then you
created,
use your
and then
four
it created
eyes.
a 3D image? If you've got a TV that can draw two players over each other, maybe you could extend that out to make a three-dimensional image for one
Are
player.
you saying you have a game that's entirely played as like a moving magic eye? You
No,
have to,
I was
like-
just pitching a 3D television, Chris. I mean, although I like your idea better.
Yeah, your idea is good.
What if your two eyes see two completely different things, and you are sick and horrible, and you just want to die because you're experiencing this game, but occasionally it lines up in sort of a weird, vague shape of like a 3D school of fish.
Yeah.
And then
The
you're,
first time I ever succeeded in seeing a magic eye, I basically wanted to shit. Like I
Like, literally?
Well, because I feel like okay,
It has that effect on some people's brains.
Because
This
the image was
triggers
also
your
because he was
whole-
straining.
because
so much.
I did not believe that it was a real thing. Because I swear to God, like when I was a kid, I was like years of seeing these things. And I'm like, this is just no way. This is real. There's no way.
So wait-
anyone who says they can see this is full of shit.
This magic eye denier?
You
Like
are-
what?
You are a microcosm for the problem with our world.
I know. I was a kid. Okay?
Everyone
I was
says
like
they can see
5.
this. There's
Whatever.
nothing there. They're all in on some crazy
Yeah.
thing, fooling me into thinking that there's pictures inside of this nothing. And then you saw it for yourself and went, "Oh, I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I
It was
believe.
probably just this one had a
I
picture."
mean, I didn't think that they were gaslighting me. I believed that there was something that they could see, but I definitely didn't believe that it actually looked
that it like
a
resolved
th-
into a perfectly crisp.
Yeah,
3D
I was like,
thing.
oh, there's just like a fucking loose outline of a sailboat, like whatever. And then I saw it, and I'm like,
assume
holy
just
shit,
loose
it's like an
as
actual
shit in there.
3D
Just
thing.
Yeah, and
fucking
then-
sloppy ass loose garbage
Yeah.
inside of this picture.
Yeah.
What? It's gonna be crisp and clear? No, there's no way.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Oh,
no.
I pooed myself. I wonder why everyone's just going around shitting themselves when they see this 3D picture. I don't know.
You won't. I don't believe you.
When
this
Instantly
art
shit
resolves.
yourself
I think
when you
you're
see
just-
this.
you're just-
Everyone's just.
You're just pooping your
everyone's
pants on
fucking with me.
purpose. No.
In case anyone had any doubts about what
sorry,
Irish Drums is.
If you want
Sorry.
more of this great content.
a parent handing their kid like a 1998 Magic Eye calendar, and then there's a big sticker on it that says, "When you see it, you'll shit yourself." Here you go, honey.
You'll shit.
You'll shit with fear. Yeah. So that's
What was
what
the
that
question
3D
about?
I don't know. I have
3D
no
TVs
idea.
And wireframe
Oh,
tanks
right,
and
right.
good stuff.
right.
Oh yeah.
Well.
It's actually cool. The game that these people made, it looks like Virtual Boy or something, right? You know, it's like a wireframe. It's actually really cool. Like,
What if it was a Virtual Boy game, but you had to each person look into one of the eyes of the Virtual Boy, and then it was two different games?
Look into the eyes of the virtual boy.
You'll shit yourself. You'll shit.
Oh, when you look into the eyes of the Virtual Boy. That's just if Milo had come
would
out
need it if
in
Virt-
1995 for PC.
right? If
That's
well,
what-
yeah,
yeah,
if Virtual Boy
yeah.
was right, if it were a PC peripheral released at the
Yes.
same time,
And
the
it would be
actual
called the
Virtual
Virtual Boy.
was yeah
And it would have
Yeah.
a really odd mascot.
V Boy.
When you look into the eyes of Granny 3D.
No one knows what that is. I mean, some people do, but most people do not.
Shout out to middleware developers.
Rad Game Tools.
That was
All right.
Yeah.
non-committal. Agree.
Rad.
Sure.
Yeah, rad.
So Kat writes, "Hi Thumbs, short time, first time. A friend of mine introduced me to the show just a couple weeks ago, but I was instantly addicted and have already smashed through a third of the back catalog. When The Witness came out, you were discussing the difficulty people have learning twin stick controls, and it made me reflect on my own difficulty with camera inversion. I learned to play double inverted, inverting both the X and Y axes. I traced this, isn't that crazy? I traced this to the release of Ratchet & Clank, the first time I'd encountered a game with the option to invert both. In a ridiculous decision I'd come to regret later, I inverted both and learned to control the camera that way. It seemed silly to invert only one, and inverted Y felt natural. Years later, I found myself in a tricky spot, as only a handful of games offer X inversion. I played through every game I could find that had both, putting aside any that didn't because I couldn't play them. Eventually, I ran out of games and decided to retrain my brain by forcing myself to play Tomb Raider without X inversion. I can now kind of play this way, but when I need to react quickly or kill a bunch of enemies at once, I revert to old habits and end up with my back to the enemies shooting a wall. So my question is, why don't more games offer the option to invert the X-axis? From an outsider's perspective, it seems like it shouldn't be that difficult to change the input that tells the camera to point right or left, but I know nothing about game development and could be missing something. Kat from Melbourne. P.S. Here's the best way I've found to explain why this feels more natural to me. Hold your fist up in front of you and imagine this is the character on screen. If you wanted to see both your fist and something to the right of you at one time, you could move your head to the left, push the stick left, and they'll be lined up. The same applies if something is in front of you on the floor. You could crane your neck, push the stick up to see both the fist and the floor at once. Hopefully that makes sense. So the reason one of the reasons I wanted to read Kat's email is because her explanation of why X inversion works for her is exactly my explanation of why I use Y inversion. That is always how I try to explain it, which is that you're rotating around an axis rather than pointing in the direction you want the camera to go.
Yeah, it's where your brain puts the pivot is what makes sense, I think.
Right.
Like if it's like people who put the virtual, they're imagining, like if you imagine the joystick, if you imagine like the base of a traditional joystick as like the midpoint that you're sort of swiveling around, I think that invert makes sense. Whereas if you envision like the top of the joystick as the thing that's moving around,
exactly right,
then not inverted makes sense. But I think that I mean, Steve, you probably know more about this than me or anyone does, but I'm going to keep talking because I'm already talking.
But just to conclude what you were saying, the thing that I realized I never thought about till I read her email is that when I use that justification for why I invert Y, because I do use inverted Y when I use a controller, I don't invert X, and so
I think that's because
I'm really
of
just
flight
like
sticks.
half and half bullshit. Yeah, it is because of
I
flight
think it's
sims,
because flight sticks
Yeah.
are supposed to be mapping to like a pilot's controls, where if
right.
you pull back on the stick, the plane goes up,
That
but
is
you
exactly
can turn
it.
it like a steering wheel left or right, which maps literally to turn the plane left or right. So
that's
like,
exactly right.
So that's why Y traditionally is invertible, but X isn't.
Yeah. But you were going to say to Steve?
Oh, that I was gonna.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say, but I don't know if that's actually true, but that's been my assumption, and that not allowing invert X as a feature is just like out of tradition, I think, because I think invert Y was put in to make people make their flight stick work like a flight stick, but invert X, I don't think it's mathematically any harder to add that in than it is to add invert Y.
No,
people just don't do
imagine.
it.
We looked into this a little bit when we were making Gone Home, and I think that it's actually not super uncommon for there to be both X and Y inversion if you're playing a third-person game, because then your character on screen.
Right, then you've got the
pivot.
swivel thing, right?
You've got the fist too.
Then there's a hovering fist out there that you use to calibrate.
But it seems like it's very uncommon for first-person games to have X inversion, but Y inversion is like, some people are just like, if I want to look up, I should push down, and it's just natural to them. But we actually have had some people, not very many, but at least one guy, like, started tweeting at us and was like, why don't you have X inversion? I can't play games that don't have X inversion. I was like, I don't know, I'm sorry. We looked up. I mean, I think the reason is just like nobody ever really seems to request it.
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest thing.
Not to have it.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, just there are so many different options you can put in a video game that even if any one of them individually is not a big deal. I mean, and this one certainly wouldn't be. I mean, relative to a lot of other options you can put in video games. There are so many
guaranteed 60 FPS. What the fuck?
Lazy devs. There are so many that I think, I don't know. I mean, like by the time you get to the point where you're doing a lot of that stuff, your list of things is so long that things just don't.
If your programmer or designer or UI designer didn't put it in at the very beginning,
right?
But yeah, like I did think it was weird personally, Steve, when I played Gone Home and I got the first audio log, and it said, "Hey, could you look up for me?" Okay, great. And then it didn't ask me to look side to side. You know, I thought that was strange. But it was a really nice organic onboarding there for people.
Yeah.
I think
can you look up at the ceiling fan? Okay, great.
You're doing it wrong.
I remember looking up at the ceiling fan.
Okay, do it now. No,
I was gonna say that's. I feel like it's
I
a bigger piece of it is to do with like accessibility in games. Sorry, Steve, but fuck you. What were you saying? Go ahead.
Oh, I don't know. I agree with Chris. It's sort of like you can have infinite number of options at some point. You just have to not put some in because almost nobody actually wants to use them.
Yeah, but those almost nobody people are often people who physically are unable to use a controller because they're disabled in a certain way. And there's, being able to remap controls and stuff is really important for, a portion of gamers.
Yep.
And so, we should be better at making sure people can do these things. I think PlayStation has put in like a kind of system level
Yeah, on
thing where you can
PS4 at the
remap
system
some
level
stuff.
and the Steam controller at the system level, you can just remap them inside of the like OS that wraps your
really
video
cool.
game.
Which is super awesome. I wonder if that includes the 2-axis inversions and stuff.
I'm not sure.
I don't know enough
I don't know.
about that. But it's cool that they
I
did
know
that.
when I looked it up, when that guy was tweeting at us, I looked to see because I remembered that was the case. And at least when I was looking like a couple months ago, there was not a system-wide invert X option in the PS4 like firmware. But yeah, they do updates all the time. Maybe there is now.
Cool.
So pester Sony and make them do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cat and who was it?
That other guy.
That guy.
And that guy
Some
tweeting
guy,
at Steve.
Twitter guy.
That guy.
All right. Let's see. So Colin writes, growing up, my brother and I absolutely hated each other. He was 2 years older than I was and spent what seemed like the majority of his day finding ways to torture me any way he saw fit.
Whoa.
When I was 9 years old, we both stumbled upon Final Fantasy VIII. I had never played a JRPG before, but was immediately enthralled. I couldn't get over the music, the weird magic battle academy story setting, the incredibly complex battle system. Playing that game was like a drug I couldn't get enough of. Unfortunately, the PS1 was in my brother's room for some reason, and the only way I could play was when he said I could or when I could sneak in. My brother was especially concerned about me getting farther in the game than he was, so when I got to wherever he was, I would create a new save file and play up to that point again. A funny thing about playing those old PS1 RPGs is you get really, really good at saving. Muscle memory takes over as soon as you hit a save point. Triangle up, X down, X up, X, circle, circle, back to the game. Well, one of the days I sneaked into my brother's room to play, I missed one of those downs on the controller. That's right, I accidentally saved over my brother's save file. I was immediately petrified. I calmly turned off the game and TV and walked unassumingly to my room and locked the door. I sat on my bed and waited for who knows how long, anticipating the ensuing rage that would come out of my brother when he found out. Eventually, I heard my brother yell, walk over, kick the door, and tell me to come out. I didn't. A few hours later, when I eventually came out, I found him relaxing in our living room. I apologized, and he just kind of looked at me and said, "Don't worry about it. It's only a game." I knew in a way part of him saying that was another cut about how much cooler he was than I was, but also the sudden character turn took me off guard. I think it was his way of saying, no matter how much we fight and no matter how much we hate each other, you're my brother and we'll always be in it together. 18 years, the two of us are best friends. I still play Final Fantasy VIII from time to time for nostalgia and chuckle when I get to that exact part where I erased his file. Disc 2, Fisherman's Horizon. Anyway, thanks for the podcast and good luck on your next adventure, Colin. That's
Cool.
pretty good. Yeah. I definitely strongly remember that kind of like that muscle memory. For me, it was more associated with resetting than with saving, probably just because of the games I played, like Tony Hawk and SSX and stuff like that. The just the amount of time it would take from failure to like start, scroll,
rerun?
reset
Yeah,
was
definitely.
like just it was nothing, a microsecond. You couldn't see it happen. Yeah.
I feel like I can't be the only one who expected that story to go from he was lounging calmly and he said, "No big deal, it's just a game." Later that night, I awoke to find his hands around my throat.
No, instead it was a nice story of personal growth and brotherhood.
Yeah, uplifting.
Unexpected.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steve, to let you down.
Man. I saved over my own save file once whilst playing Syndicate on the Amiga, and I got
man.
really close to the end,
Wow.
and I got super annoyed at myself because the
Yeah.
like load and save menus
Oh,
are
yeah.
the same. Like I'll load my game or whatever, and like nope, that was the save game option. You just screwed yourself.
I mean, that's the exact kind of thing that is like, to go back to the Binding of Isaac Spelunky thing, that's the exact kind of thing where I'm just like, well, I'm done. That's it. Fucking done forever. I don't, that's it. Bye.
Yep.
flip lead.
I'm glad that we have one British person on this podcast who can tell a story of erasing their Syndicate save game on their Amiga.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
just for you.
No one does that.
No one knows what any of those words mean.
They do.
They know what they mean, but they
I
could
remember
never imagine.
It was actually a game Okay, so I was playing the expansion pack that the first studio I worked at as a designer had made before I started working there, and I was playing through the campaign, and like with so many PC FPSs, there's just a quick save key, and you just quick save forever, and you quick save for hours, so you don't actually make any real save files. And I was playing through a part where in the game you like jump down off of a dead drop to get into a later part of the level, and I was on really low health, and so I jumped off the edge and then hit quick save, and then hit the ground, and lost my last 3 points of health, and then you just hit quick load and just like quick load.
Oh, that's
Like,
classic.
and then you go back to your manual save from like 4 hours earlier, and
you were done.
You are owned. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the like quick save into crushing death is a classic terrible experience.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had anything like that in Dark Souls over those? Because those
I
games
have.
are set up. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like I had that in the original Dark Souls at least once.
Yeah.
Like Steve just talking about that triggered me a little bit.
Right.
Just thinking about that. Yeah. I can't remember what I did. I think I just lost like an hour of progress, which was embarrassing because people had to watch me do that.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. I think we're like 40 minutes in, Chris, by the way.
Oh, good to know. Yeah, we forgot to turn on our
I
timer.
said 0 there.
Oh, are you saying that we should take a break and record an advertisement?
Oh,
I'm not, but we can.
But we're going to do it.
You know,
we're
we're
going to
doing
do
it
it.
now.
All right, I'm calling it. We're taking a break.
This episode of Idle Thumbs is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the fastest, easiest, most user-friendly, intuitive, and responsive way to make your very own website, portfolio, blog, or online store. And if you go to squarespace.com and enter the code THUMBS at checkout, you will get 10% off your first purchase plus a free domain. It's very easy to use, but you can access whenever you want their 24/7 customer support. It is an outrageous level of support they offer for a service that is offered to like consumers of all sort of skill levels and budgets. It is very impressive. They're really responsive, very helpful, and their website creation tools are incredibly easy. You can sign up without a credit card. You can build your entire website basically before having to put any money down just to make sure that you can put it together the way you want. It is great. I've gone through the whole process multiple times. It is just super easy to get it set up with your domain and everything. So if you go to squarespace.com, enter the code THUMBS at checkout for 10% off plus a free domain.
I made a Squarespace page.
Website. Yeah, you made a Squarespace page? What'd you put on it?
SteveGaynor.cool. You can go there right now.
SteveGaynor.cool.
It's got links to stuff that I have online.
There you go. Put links to stuff you have online. Squarespace.
Basically a website. The
Yeah.
definition of a website.
There you go. Squarespace.com with the promo code THUMBS. This episode of Idle Thumbs is also brought to you by Blue Apron. Blue Apron will send you a box of ingredients and recipes to make your own delicious meals right at your home in your own kitchen across a variety of cuisines, all different types of meats and vegetables. It's really great. And the packaging is recyclable, and even the sort of refrigerated cold packets that keep the meat fresh are non-toxic, and you can throw away the plastic they come in and throw the sort of cooling stuff down the sink, and it's fine. Blue Apron is very convenient. You make a lot of meals across types of food that you would not usually think to make, or that you may not think to make. In the current menu, there are dishes such as cashew chicken stir fry with tango mandarins and jasmine rice, udon noodle soup with miso and soft-boiled eggs, roasted pork with apple, walnut, and farro salad, and crispy barramundi. Barramundi. I don't know what that is. I guess I'll find out. Barramundi quinoa and roasted carrot salad. Would you be making meals like this kind of like crazy shit in your own time, Nick Brecken?
No.
I didn't think so, but you could. You could with Blue Apron. And they're generally speaking like one-pan recipes, occasionally two-pan recipes, but they're very contained, very straightforward. And you put them together in your kitchen, you learn some new techniques, you learn some new ingredients. It's great. If you go to blueapron.com/idle, that is blueapron.com/idle, you'll get your first 3 meals free with free shipping. What do you have to lose? Just that recyclable stuff that you can put down the sink.
You can keep that if you want.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
sink.
So it's
You
your
just gotta
call.
wash it down there anyway.
I did have a freezer full of those ice packs because I didn't know what to do
Exactly,
with them.
yeah.
But then, like, I ended up actually, like, it was the summer, and we went and had some picnics outside, and then I did actually use all those ice packs. So
Well, there
take
you go.
that. I didn't throw mine down the sink, Chris, like, unlike some people.
Well, they also have a service where you can send back your materials to them, and they will recycle them properly. In case
cool.
you're interested in that, yes. BlueApron.com/idle. It's Sean Vanneman.
Oh, hi.
Where'd you come from? You
Well-
just appeared in this chair.
As if by magic.
As if by magic. How's it going?
It's going well.
Nice.
I'm happy to be here on this auspicious podcast anniversary.
our 300th,
milestone.
our 300th anniversary.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're all dressed like members of the 300 while recording. Oh, you can't lie about what you look like anymore on this podcast.
No.
No,
But we are.
You can to like 95% of the people who are going to hear it because they
Right.
They
But
don't know.
if you said something outlandish, being like,
They could
we're
verify.
also joined by Senator Al Simpson, who refuses to speak. They could go to twitch.tv/.
Right.
Yeah.
On the other
go,
hand,
"You're
maybe
a
the way to
fucking
go
liar."
is just to insist. Why even brook any dissent? He is here. I mean, he is right here.
It's
Senator
true.
Al Simpson is sitting right here.
My political hero,
so,
my favorite Republican. Both of these things are actually true.
so what's he been playing?
Pinochle.
What
He's wild about it.
God,
Cribbage.
actually, what I was about to
I
say,
have been playing Cribbage with Grandpas on my phone still, constantly.
you play, like, is it called Cribbage with Grandpa?
Are you serious? You don't know about
I've
Cribbage
never
with
heard of
Grandpas?
this.
Gentlemen, really? You don't know about Cribbage with Grandpas?
No, okay. I thought you were actually like about to talk about how
No,
you found
it's a
some
real
online
game.
cribbage game and you were playing against old people.
No, that would be equally good. So this is Cribbage with Grandpas. It's made by Less Than 3 Games. Hold on, I'll exit to the main menu. You get your telephone at the beginning here. It's an iOS game. It's available for $2.99.
Wait, it starts with a telephone in the game that you pick up?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
good.
wonderful. It's a wonderful, wonderful game. Let me turn up the brightness. So, I have my 3 grandpas. I have my grandpa Jimmy, who's based on my Irish grandpa Jimmy.
Do you put in these names or do they?
Yeah, you make
Yeah,
them.
okay.
I have my grandpa John, who's based on my dad's dad, John.
Okay.
And then I have Sidney Poitier, who's clearly someone's grandpa, but he's in my phone. So you can make a new grandpa. So we obviously will have Grandpa Jake.
Sure.
Because he's okay.
my God.
Oh no! But you can whatever randomize your way towards.
Okay, random
one.
roll my grandpa. That's a good one.
Yeah, that could be you.
That just looks like Jake with a big mustache.
Exactly. Okay, done. So then we have that. We can pick where he lives. He definitely has that cat. There's Fiona. And then you can edit his personality. So tough and grumpy. We're definitely going to say sad and grumpy because it's Jake.
Okay.
Nerdy and grumpy. Nerdy, sad, grumpy.
Can we go nerdy,
Nerdy.
sad, and grumpy?
You want to be grumpy and sneaky or grumpy and sad?
Oh, I don't care.
Nerdy, sad, and grumpy.
Maybe
works.
nervous. I think nervous is probably right. Nerdy,
Yeah.
grumpy, and nervous.
Okay,
Nerdy,
yes, there we go.
grumpy,
That's-
yeah. Done. And then you can say how much he speaks or doesn't speak, how good his cribbage skills are, and then boom. And then hold on, I gotta turn this up so you can get these good sounds. So then you just beep bop boop, calling Grandpa Jake. Hopefully he picks up so we can play some cribbage together.
Wow.
And he says like, hey, why don't you come over and play some cribbage with me? And then you just fucking play cribbage with your grandpa. And I'm obsessed with it, and I've probably played 200 matches.
And you're
of
just playing
cribbage.
against a computer. It's not like a multiplayer.
Or a computer grandpa.
Okay.
A grandfather computer.
A computer gram, as they're called.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so good. It came out, like, I started playing it right after the election,
Car
and it was
Bear
exactly
game?
what I needed. I had a Joe Biden grandpa for a while.
Nice.
Then I had to purge some grandpas. He wasn't made as well as I wanted, so I'll remake Joe. It didn't do justice to the man.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, Cribbage with Grandpas is fucking good.
So you've been playing a lot of cribbage with grandpas.
Yeah.
All right.
And by grandpas, I mean Senator Al Simpson,
Right.
co-author of the Simpson Bowls budget plan.
Mm-hmm.
Good guy.
Well,
And default AI in cribbage with
And
grandpas.
and episode 300 attendee.
Yes.
DLC Cribbage with Grandpa's
It's really good.
microtransaction.
Do you want to read a reader mail?
Oh, sure.
Success.
Dear Thumbs, I'm
Good.
moving into a haunted house tomorrow. It was the cheapest house on the market, and it's 4 miles from my new job. The building is still decorated in 1970s manner, and it's in disrepair. I can't install internet until I take care of more vital projects. I'm going through my backlog of games and installing those that do not require internet and can fit on my hard drive. How would you handle this situation? Think on your own Steam games list and pick 5 games that you would have to dedicate 4 to 6 months to. Are you certain they don't require
this
internet?
reader mail.
Yeah.
My mobile network is strictly dedicated to your show. Much love, Evan B. Peretti.
That is a wonderful reader.
Yeah.
Is this the quality of the reader mail since I've departed? Has it been this?
It's been pretty good.
It's been pretty good.
We've been doing
That's-
some just
that's
reader
a-
mail only shows.
I'm moving
knockout
into a
punch.
haunted house from the 70s and don't
My
have the
first
internet.
point was going to be like, to prove that this house is haunted. Could this be a spooky house?
Could just be, yeah.
If there's not apparitions and shit, then right?
That's true. It
Yeah.
might just, I mean, the haunted house could be in him all along. Like, it might not be really haunted, but if it is in his brain, then it counts.
Maybe
What
his
level of
moving
haunting
into
would
it
you be okay
is what
with
will
if you
haunt
moved
it.
into a house? If you bought like your dream house, let's say you buy a beautiful like 1908 like big old like Victorian house standalone on a lot in Sonoma.
Uh-huh.
And
And
you're like-
what amount is okay with me?
Yeah.
I mean, okay,
I
my
would-
first
like if
answer...
like once a month you see a child, you definitely see it.
my first answer is not haunted. I would prefer to buy
Yeah.
one with 0 haunting.
Okay.
But I would probably...
Is this like in return for being able to afford the house?
Yeah, it's like
Yes.
somebody goes like, Jake, I'll
The
sell you this house.
the housing market is fucked.
Yeah.
It's not that you get to sleep in here at one night and then you own it. You still have to pay for it. But
it's
just
$400,000.
Yeah, but it's real
Right,
cheap,
okay,
but
yeah.
it's haunted.
Yeah,
like
it's
the
not $1
conditions-
million.
The conditions of the haunted house you get it rules have changed.
You're on Redfin and you're like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Why is this
and then, well, the
475K?
final bullet point is like dripping blood.
Yeah, and
Like,
it's
why
like-
is
No,
that?
it just
sometimes
says,
the
it just
floorboards
says
ooze.
It's haunted.
It's haunted.
And then you have to be like, fuck. Well, how much?
How haunted are we
Like
talking?
how? Yeah, like how much? What is my cutoff?
Yeah, like doors that squeak, but like not randomly, very pointedly, like when you mention the ghost.
You hear
or
footsteps
argue,
upstairs.
Yeah, like, footsteps upstairs might be too much for me. I feel like creaks and squeaks
Really?
that are dramatically timed to anything that would make you think
But
there's
that's
a
not
ghost.
haunting.
It is. If
How do you know? How do you know?
Okay,
it's
Like,
not
if it
result-
feels
but
like-
that is plausible.
and like
there's a plausible
occasionally
non-hauntingness.
a thump or a weight shift.
Actual footsteps.
Actual
Cowboy
footsteps.
boot footsteps.
Oh, I don't know if I could.
Heel toe. Come bum bum. Come bum bum.
Okay.
And a door closes.
Okay, actually, no. Okay. Oh, and a door closed. Okay, hold on. Here's the thing.
Like when you're in the house at the beginning of Resident
If the
Evil.
house is haunted and if there's weird clomping noises, but I don't ever actually see any haunted creatures and they have no agency over any objects, like if there is just like a ghost of a cowboy clomping around in the attic, but he can't knock shit over and he can't like throw.
You don't know that.
Okay, but
over time you would learn that it
if
doesn't
over
happen.
time this cowboy becomes like, oh man, we bought our house and it was too close to the train. I feel like I could make peace with that, even though it's like
'Cause you could name
exponentially
him and stuff.
exponentially more intense than living next to the train.
It's like
And
having a woodpecker that like
yeah,
annoys
just
you.
like
You're
okay,
oh, it's Charlie.
You don't even hear the cowboy anymore after a while. I feel like maybe I could get there, but the house would have to be real cheap. I feel like the haunting to dollars proportion is.
If it's a $1.2 million house, you're gonna get it for $450,000.
Well, I mean, then you could potentially.
It's on 1.5 acres.
Yeah. You could really put some money into that and flip it, and then don't tell the next person it's haunted, and then you really.
That's a monkey's paw situation.
That's true.
Dude.
Then the place you move into, no matter how nice it is, has 2 ghosts in it. The next time.
exactly. Yeah, you don't want to do that shit, man. Don't fuck with that.
I don't know, but I don't know.
That's fine.
I
We
don't
can
wanna-
move on.
I
We can
don't-
go to. We didn't even get to the 5 games.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe if I don't know.
But no internet. That's the thing that's hard for me with this question because
Right.
I'm
For
like,
you,
well,
that's
obviously Dota.
Yeah, no,
I'm good for 6 months. I only need one.
Yeah,
But
no Dotas, no Daisies.
I might still do Dota and
Just
play against bots, but I would fall so far out of sync with the patches that when I came
Right.
back
You'd
thinking
be-
I was
you'd be
really
like moving
good.
to another like land. It would be
Yeah,
you just suddenly
6
be
months
like,
of Dota patches could literally be. It's a shooter now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 months, huh? I mean, God, this is tough.
I would go with the Civilization game.
I know you would, but yeah,
Yeah.
it feels like the right choice.
Yeah.
But like, I don't really like those games that much.
Well, that's just me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the games I like that I can play for hours and hours and hours and hours are generally on the internet.
Right.
Like I like Days.
Yeah,
like,
this is easier for me because I would
Yeah.
I would go with Anno like the Dawn of Discovery one, 14.0. 2?
Oh, I have one. Obviously, I would go with Skyrim. I'd put Skyrim. on there. I could go back to that.
Skyrim is good. I was going to say it depends on your disposition, but if you're a person who thinks that you could eventually 100% The Witness, you could get a lot of hours out of The Witness.
Yeah, I got
In 6
so
months,
far in that
yeah.
game that I think it's off the table for me.
Yeah.
I think I didn't get far enough that I could still do another 6 months if I rationed it.
Yeah, it really
you know?
depends on what
Once a week.
sort of thing you're into.
I would put a Souls game in there.
Yeah, for like
because
for,
like that.
Just do it,
for
commit to
just-
it.
Yeah, that tickles
That's a
a
good
lot
one.
it's
of
a
the
game you
same
can rerun.
Dota
That's
stuff.
like, I mean, a smaller example of that is Spelunky. Is a game that you could rerun a ton and get good at and keep finding stuff in it, but you'd have to be a person for whom that's going to be.
God, that's
your
already.
thing.
I'm already past that.
Yeah,
I could have done that like 3 years ago,
Right,
but can't now.
Yeah. Something like Planet Coaster, maybe is it
Oh,
like?
Planet Coaster. That's definitely what I do. Although,
Give them. You could get The
does that need you
Sims.
to be online? No.
You could play The Sims and just build yourself a not haunted house that you could pretend is
Yeah,
your
I could
house.
get into The Sims. I never really got into I never really played The Sims very much. I could get into The Sims.
But I feel like builders and that sort of game is kind of a cheat.
Wow, that's
No, I don't think
that's
so.
just
What? It's like you're supposed to play fucking Battletoads for 6 months?
Yeah, what do you mean?
ROMs?
Get good at, just install ROMs.
Yeah. I went home.
The requirement
for
has to
Christmas.
be on Steam.
Chessmaster 5000.
I went home for Christmas once, and I knew I wasn't gonna have good internet. And then I was on my MacBook Pro, and instead of actually just and I didn't have any money. This is and I remember thinking, oh, instead of like buying a game that I should just play over the holidays, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna download like a whole SNES NES ROMs pack, and I'll have all the games I could ever want. And after 3 days, I was just like, I'm so fed up with ROMs. I'm so sick of playing.
Give you a real game.
Yeah, I was like, God damn, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're ROM.
Yeah, I was Rahm Emanuel. Disgraced mayor.
Game pirate.
Game pirate. Brother of Hollywood magnate. Gosh, what else? Sorry, I was off mic. I mean, I want like a really good shooter, but I don't know what would it be long enough for me to really enjoy.
Yeah, that's tough.
Like I want something. I
offline.
want something where it's like Doom,
that you can just keep
but I haven't
drilling down into.
right, and
yeah.
I've played so much Doom already.
Doom would be a good one because it's not
and there's
just like
discoverables
a
and stuff.
camp. It's not like a Half-Life game where it's like, okay, I played the campaign and like.
I guess
now
that's
what?
true. I guess you could go through and try to
would
100%
like a
it and
shooter.
whatever the hell else.
Just just be amazing.
I've been really into.
I mean, I guess 6 months is not that outrageous. I was sort of in my brain. I was
Yeah.
kind of thinking of this as like the desert island situation.
Right.
but it's
I
not-
better
it's
bring
not
Infinite
really
Jest.
that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like it's
No, you're going to work. You're coming home playing games for a couple hours.
yeah,
Like
this is fine.
Like if I was going to 100% Doom, and I was only playing the rate that I play video games, it would probably take me like a few weeks.
Mhm.
That gets me pretty far, you know. If I can do that 3 weeks
That's
now,
true.
it's like now
Actually,
we're
that's a good chunkier.
And he wants 5. So yeah, you could.
5. Yeah. I mean, I probably am pretty close. I got like
yeah.
probably Civ 4. This would be my opportunity to get back into Civ 4. Dawn of Discovery / Anno, whichever one that is. What else did I say? Let's put Doom in there. Why not? God, I already forget all the things I said. I'm losing it. I'm losing my brain.
The things that I would bring are games that I've not yet played but want
The
to
Witness.
or want to get farther into. Like I'm halfway into The Witness right now, and I know that like I'm really liking it.
I got one.
I failed miserably to get into either of the modern Deus Ex games, so I'd probably bring Deus Ex 3. I'd probably bring Hitman. That is now a complete season and all of the challenges.
Yeah,
that might
Hitman-
not work without the internet though.
You can't play that one. Yeah, it's got to be online. Yeah.
I can't play this in my haunted house.
Yeah. They do that to protect you from haunted houses. So this game's way too
so I won't
tense
bring Hitman,
to be played
and I'll
in a
be
haunted
pissed.
house.
Or I
Yeah.
will. I will bring Hitman, and then I'll be really upset.
Right. God, I wonder if Ubisoft, that Anno game, well, they have that stupid online shit.
You can play without that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. I got one
Yeah.
for sure
What?
because I have not played a second of it. Oh, you're gonna be mad you didn't think of this. GTA 5.
Oh, that's really good.
Mm.
I didn't play a second of GTA 5.
You could.
Now's
I
my
didn't
time.
either.
You
I
could
would
dump
take-
an entire human life into GTA 5.
I got my 1080. I got my 32 gigs of RAM. I'm getting that high texture pack, getting the mods, and the thing's gonna look like I'm in a fucking movie.
So you're just getting GTA 5 like with like embellishments.
Yeah, might as
Get it
well. I mean,
all
if
up
I'm
front
like, yeah.
and then-
yeah.
Okay, this is maybe.
So I think GTA 5, Skyrim, a modern shooter that has got a good Metacritic. I don't really care what it is. Oh no, it needs to be online. It's like Battlefield. Yeah, some sort of maybe that new sniper game. People say that's nice and slow and good. Sniper Elite 4.
This is an obvious one.
I'd throw Dota in there and play bots.
Just train on Dota.
I'd be really bummed when I came back and realized that Storm Spirit just like didn't have his like third. He didn't have his like passive anymore or whatever.
So this, if you're gonna live in a haunted house and you haven't played this, I feel like maybe it is the opportunity to double down and just don't put any furniture into one of the rooms. Put your PC in the middle of it and just play through Resident Evil 7 in the haunted house in the middle of the night alone with no internet connection.
That's a strong move.
Like, why not?
You might even be to get the first chunk of DLC that's coming out too.
Yeah, if you can grab that ahead of time. There's DLC for Resident Evil 7?
Yeah, season pass, dude.
If you want to see why Resident Evil 7 is a great game, what I actually very strongly recommend that you do is go to twitch.tv/Sean Vanneman.
Oh, that's great. It's good content.
And twitch.tv/Steve Gaynor. Is that Steve's?
I think it's
He's
Steve
not
Gaynor.
Fulbright.
He's not Fulbright.
Yeah, I think it's Steve Gaynor.
Sean and Steve have been streaming the hell out of Resident Evil 7, where they do this crazy thing that I love and don't see very often, where like if Steve is playing, it's full screen of Steve's game and you see Steve's webcam, but then Sean is just on Skype hanging out, just being like a virtual like
it's like we're hot seating.
It's like
together.
virtual couch co-op.
Yeah, it's like
really
couch
well.
co-op.
Yeah,
really
and
seamless.
yeah, I've been watching on and off, and just watching you guys have a blast with that game has made me, I think, appreciate it even more than when I play it on my own. Anyway, you were going to say something.
Oh, I was going to say, if you think there's a game that Steve and I should couch co-op together on our Twitch streams, recommend it to us on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
We are at Vanneman and at Fulbright.
Yeah.
And with that, I say goodbye to you.
Farewell, Vanneman.
Readers, I have a huge blast off to do away from here.
Have a good dinner.
Good pod blast, guys. Congratulations.
All right, we're back.
Hi.
Hello. Alex writes, what are your favorite mirrors in games? I noticed they show up less often than I would expect. Is there a graphics or performance reason for this? I noticed in games like Battlefield and Titanfall, you sometimes walk into a room that contains mannequins, hazmat suits, or other humanoid shapes to confuse you and make you think you've come across an opponent. How cool would it be to have a battle in a hall of mirrors instead? Thanks, Nick. Alex Pear.
And mirrors, edge.
Spaff.
I remember
Which
when games
contains no
didn't have
mirrors,
mirrors.
Probably.
Was that Steve?
I assume Mirror's Edge does not actually contain any mirrors.
I don't
No,
think
because it
it
just
does.
Well, no,
the edge
then
of
it
them.
would. Yeah.
Then it would be Mirror's face
Yes.
Yeah.
if it had mirrors.
Mirror's surface.
A mirror's
I think
edge isn't
not.
really reflective, so
Yeah. True.
yeah.
Who wants to talk about mirrors?
You do.
You do, Jake.
I'll talk about mirrors. I mean,
You should.
I'll be quick about it though.
Talk about mirrors
The
and be
history
quick
of
about
mirrors.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that mirrors aren't in games for two reasons. The first reason is if you have a mirror, you have to draw the entire video game twice because the part of it that's inside the mirror is another one.
Another one.
It's not,
gets
I
it.
mean, there are tricks you can do in a game where you can draw the literal contents of the camera that you're already drawing a second time, and that doesn't cost that much in some ways. Like, in like Smash Brothers, there's a big screen TV in the background of the game that's just sort of double drawing it. But a mirror actually is drawing either a second camera
Mirror's
or
drawing different stuff because it's looking in the exact opposite
it's either
direction.
a second camera
Yeah.
pointing back out that's reversed from where the player's looking, or they do something that somewhere along the line literally duplicates all of the like meshes in the world and draws them a second time. I think I don't know if there's more than two reasons, but the other reason that I imagine people don't do mirrors very often, especially in first-person games, is that you then have to draw a third-person version of the player, which
Yeah.
is it's annoying as heck. I mean,
it means
even,
that everything you're doing has to be able to be reflected back in a way
even
that
doing the
looks
version
good.
of a first-person game where you can look down and see yourself, you have to animate a bunch of stuff, and then it's all full of crazy cheats. And then even if you do that and then show a mirror, the character's arms will be like out in front of their face like 3 feet, and their shoulders will be like stretched grotesquely, and they'll like twist at the waist weird. Like, I guess if you made,
You'd have to make a fake mirror that.
you'd have to have a
It's a
mirror that
completely
then
different
drew
character
a
model.
different version of the player that was running a different set of animations that weren't
Yeah.
tweaked to look like a first-person thing, but then also like turned correctly and didn't look like your shitty friend you're playing in Halo with.
Bethesda games don't use, regardless of whether you're in first-person mode or not, they're still using the same
Right.
third-person avatar,
That
right?
is true.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there are some games that just don't bother with any of the trickery.
Yeah.
And I mean, any game where you can seamlessly switch between first and third person, pretty much just don't bother. So I mean, those games don't have any mirrors in them, I assume, though. Still,
I don't think so.
yeah.
I feel like I've played a game recently that had a mirror. Well, okay, Uncharted 4 had a mirror in it.
Batman VR game
the
where
Batman
you, like-
VR where you can look at
Batman
yourself
VR
and like,
had very good mirror. Batman VR had
yeah.
the best mirror.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up if nobody else did, but yeah, it's very good.
Uncharted 4 had a mirror in it, and it like everything else in Uncharted 4, that felt like it was the most show-offy moment by the developers of all time, where Nathan Drake like walks into the bathroom, and it's like you can see what seems like his entire house reflected back in the mirror, and there's all this like, I mean, there's just a cutscene, so they could just do it.
Yeah.
But even that, it felt like the cameras were very carefully controlled, so that whenever the mirror was present, they were only drawing like the inside of his bathroom, and then you could see a little bit out the hall.
But you can see Nathan Drake in it, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he's already animated. He's a third-person character playing a cutscene,
Sure,
so they
yeah.
could
Yeah,
draw
yeah,
two of
yeah.
him. But like, even then, they like the camera angles are chosen to look cinematic while secretly not showing you the whole kitchen in two different shots
Right.
and stuff like that.
If you made a Dracula game, you could get more ambitious because you wouldn't have to show yourself.
That's true.
in the
Oh
mirror.
my god,
You
I'm
could-
sure that like Vampire the Masquerade is just fucking loaded with mirrors.
Yeah.
But if you put a mirror in, then you've got to have the non-vampire guy draw, and then you've got all the same stupid problems.
Well, just,
Not necessarily because you're looking
You've
at them
killed him
anyway.
already.
Yeah,
Right.
that guy's already third
yeah.
person.
he's dead because you're a Dracula.
I mean, but like
Yeah.
an NPC might not be one.
No, because you killed them.
Oh, you solve it by killing them before they get to the mirror.
Right. Yep. This is why I'm a game developer.
But yeah,
folks.
A really great, very, very, very good recent mirror game. Brendan Chung did amazing stuff with mirrors in Quadrilateral Cowboy.
Oh yeah, that's
Because
true.
he-
That's a good
Because
point.
the Doom 3 engine just had mirrors.
Yeah.
And so, like, I won't spoil it, but, like, early on, you see your own character in the mirror, and that's basically what you look like. And then later on in the game, there's actually, like, a really impressive story reveal through mirrors later, and it's really understated. So if you can have mirrors, because it's not outlawed by being way too much work and technical overhead, you can do some cool stuff.
Quadrilateral Cowboy actually was shockingly. That game really reminded me how little connection I typically feel to my avatar in a first-person game, because that game goes out of its way to let you know what you look like. And I remember just having the sensation of how rare that is. And that game also, like, the characters are obviously, like, just don't look. I mean, aside from the art style, which doesn't look like most games, the characters also are just, like, very intentionally different than the characters in a lot of first-person games. And that I had totally forgotten about that, how that game does that. But man, it is a great example of how to do a lot with a little. I guess every game he makes is that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But in this
Pretty
case,
much.
that little is a mirror. That said, the other best use of a mirror in 2016 was probably Batman VR. Like, that was the stupidest. Sorry. Like, should we just? I mean, it's hopefully easy to describe what this is. It's a VR Batman game by Rocksteady or some splinter group paid for by Rocksteady, but whatever. You are in VR and you do the stupid Batman suit up stuff where you like use your move controllers to pick up a cowl and push it over where your head is, and then like you put a glove on one hand and a glove on the other hand inside of the Batcave, and then your stupid little Batman computer goes, "Do you look good today, Bruce Wayne?" and shows you like a mirror / iPad, and then it's Batman. You're like, because you're looking out of the eyes of Batman and you are him, but then all that anyone inevitably does is waggle their arms around like an idiot and like hold the left move controller in the right hand and the right one in the left hand, so his arms like interlock and he turns into like this gross dead puppet of Batman.
It looks like Robot Chicken or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's also so good. Like the stupid thing about that thing is there's enough head and arm tracking going on that when the mirror first shows up and you're looking in a mirror and see Batman, it's actually cool for a second, and then your conscious brain goes, wait, no, hold on, and then you fuck around with it. But like that first second,
You are Batman.
yeah, you're Batman in a mirror in a VR headset. But
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I liked that a lot. It really, I don't really consider when I'm Batman if I'm Batman, but that game really did a lot with a
Confirmed that
little.
you were.
I was though. That one.
That
did.
was
Yeah,
when you
it was
realized, oh
like-
my God, Jake is Batman.
Even though it told you
Yeah.
you were Bruce Wayne.
Well, that's how I also found out that Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Oh, okay.
Wait, because you realized, wait,
What?
I'm Bruce Wayne, and I'm
And
Batman. Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Man, also,
And then you went, woo!
And then, that game.
I'm Bruce Wayne and I'm Batman.
That game also had to get into the Batcave, I think you have to like press a couple keys on a piano.
Yes.
And I remember.
Can you play it like really badly?
Yeah.
You can just sort of
do
go
anything.
blog, but then you hit the correct one.
The perfect passcode.
When you hit the correct one, it goes.
No, they're
"Thank
all the
you."
correct one.
Oh,
It's
right.
always the correct
You only
one.
have a couple seconds to do it
Yeah.
before it shuts you out. And that's now like 2 games that came out within a year that have an interactive piano that shuts you down for trying to use it. The other one is Resident Evil 7, which has the most amazing just troll.
Yeah.
You're
Really
in
good.
this haunted ass house in the first 5 minutes of the game, and there's a piano exposed, and this game has just super nice, expensive hand acting all over the place. And like, I'm gonna press a key on that piano. Your character reaches out, and then the lid just closes, and then it's not interactable anymore. It made me really happy.
Nice.
Like,
It's very good.
That is like the most classic, just haunted house thing. Like that should have happened. Then you should just turn around and a big like wobbly spider came down from the side.
Yeah, but like the piano closing, it seems like they were going for we're gonna spook you out by the house being haunted. But it also felt like the game was like, no, you're not gonna fucking play that piano. Don't even like.
Yep.
You thought that little fun goof was gonna happen? No. Anyway, get ready for the rest of the other goofy garbage that takes up the rest of this game. But yeah, I like that the piano denial could be a Giant Bomb theme page at this point, and it would have only those 2 games on it.
When you said you had to play the piano to get into the Batcave, I pictured the exit of the Batcave with a piano outside. It was like, what? Why?
The Batmobile drives up and then it goes, "You must play." You have to get out and then
Like
just
leans out of the car and like
Yeah.
tickles the ivories. And then
I would like Bach Batman.
That would be totally at home in the Batman 1966 series,
True.
Yeah, that's
in
true.
which Robin is sometimes shown practicing piano.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be totally at home. All right. So speaking of, I forget what connection I was going to draw to this. Anyway,
Mirrors.
Kier writes, "Hi Thumbs. During one of the Dark Souls streams, Nick and I had a conversation about who would be able to play games such as these. I said, and I continue to think,
Pros.
that someone of pretty much any age or
True
background
gamers.
could play Dark Souls successfully given a reasonable amount of time and level of dedication. Nick disagreed. I'm curious what the other Thumbs think about this. Also, could Nick tell everyone what he remembers about the plot of the Souls games in chronological order, please?
I know.
Thanks,
No, I
Kier.
can't do
Thanks,
that. So
Kier,
move on.
from the
We'll move
screens.
on to the first part.
You can do your best. Let's hear a little quick recap.
I have no.
Yeah,
I
what
literally
happens?
have no. I have no idea what happens in the Dark
But
Souls
like,
games.
what's some of what happens?
I literally don't
tell
know.
one
This is
little
like I
story.
woke up and
What is
then
that?
they said, "Here's the chemistry test," and I was like, "I didn't take any of this class yet." Like I don't know anything.
But what's one thing that happened?
God, you're like in a world, and I think the second game is, I think to some degree the world has been changed based on the first game. There's cinder, like ash is like a theme, like
Right.
because the dragons
the
used
third
to
game.
exist at some point, but they like burned everything and created the ash.
Okay.
And then
Getting
then
somewhere.
there's the Lord, and he's the Lord of Cinder. But I don't remember if I killed him or if like I am him. I can't remember. I think I became him at some point. I like how I say I, like I'm like an actor that is like
Batman.
You're
So
Batman.
if I'm
Batman,
Batman,
Nick Brecker.
the Lord
Bruce
of
Wayne,
Cinder.
Lord of
Or
Cinder.
are you?
Bruce Wayne, who
First
is Nick
Lord of
Brecker, who is
Cinder.
Batman, became
Yeah.
the Lord of Cinder, became Jack Straw.
Oh, he became the unusual drug trafficker.
Oh yeah.
anyway,
So what else happens in Dark Souls?
I don't know.
Okay.
You lose your mind and
Right,
play it
okay.
for 60 hours. But
So-
the first question
so
is
you don't- so you-
Dr.
so you
Jack
don't-
Straw. Sorry, that was a good pull.
Yeah. So you don't think that these games would? You don't think just like your mom would be able to sit down and
right.
pick
That
these
was
ga-
specifically like the thing that we were talking about was like
it was
because your
people-
mom has played Skyrim, for instance.
she
So
yes.
she's a decent test
Right,
case here
right,
in
right.
theory, I guess,
Right.
because.
right.
But so you think she would just?
There's no way she could beat that game ever.
Wow.
Like a
Nick
Dark Souls game,
Brecken
there's
trash
no
talking
way.
a mom.
There's absolutely no way. And I think a lot of I mean, this is the argument that I have with him, but I think that that's probably true for a lot of people. But he was
Are you
not
sure
asking.
you
He was
don't-
not asking me. He was asking you guys because we've already had this out.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I haven't played. So I haven't played one of these games since Demon Souls, and I don't feel that I'm equipped.
well,
to have like.
Yeah.
I do know that one of the most popular YouTube series about this game, our old roommate Paolo was like obsessed with this series. Kay Plays Dark Souls was a like novice player who started playing Dark Souls I think without any coaching or anything. And like, I think she was doing it on YouTube, not live streaming. So she didn't have people in chat like telling her stuff
Making fun of her.
like you do.
Right.
And I think she just like did the work, like just hour after hour after hour after hour after hour until she understood the game and like, you know, I think has probably played through all of them at this point. I don't even know. But that's like a really celebrated YouTube series and is definitely a point in the column of like anyone could play these games.
Yeah. But when he said anyone, he meant like my dad could pick this game up.
Right.
Without
and
like,
your dad would be starting from an even lower point than your mom
from
would.
like I haven't picked up a
because he hasn't
controller
even right.
probably ever. I mean, maybe like once in the late 80s.
Right.
And he could, you know, without like streamers telling him what to do, he could eventually beat that game. And I knowing my dad,
right.
I feel very confident that I would win that bet.
Right.
I think that.
Well, what are the circumstances here? What if he was locked in solitary confinement and they were like, the only way...
this is the sort of academic exercise. It's like, yeah, sure, maybe.
The breaking point for this, for if a
You're
person
saying he might starve to death in solitary confinement.
Oh, he would.
From his...
No, he would. There's no way.
It was his only way to survive and see his beloved.
So here's maybe a better way to frame this. Maybe we have to limit the like potential audience that we're talking about here to people who might actually want to do this.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Because the crucial point of this is if a person really wants to play it and thinks that it looks interesting, even if they have no game experience, it could become the first game that they do well at, but it would be because they want to. Whereas all of our other hypotheticals are like, we're trapping a guy in a room and not giving him food until he plays Dark Souls, he will die.
Right.
Like, that's true of a lot
when
of
it
things.
says you are dead, it's, you know.
There's a skeleton.
There's this, you know.
And then a note about whatever that.
Right.
There's a meme.
And then you become the Lord of Cinder.
You say, don't give up, skeleton. Dad, please don't give up. I need you to live. You're my dad. Please learn to play Dark Souls. Please don't give up. Dad, don't die. That's your message.
Those are the notes
and he
that
says,
your dad
okay,
would
Jasper.
find were he able to play Dark Souls and see the
Right.
messages you were leaving.
He didn't ever see it. He died in the room before that,
Right.
like 40 times, and then died in real life because
Jesus.
he starved.
You don't have a dad. Oh no, you're dead.
Your dad?
Your dad is
Your
playing
dad-
Dark Souls.
your
dad.
You are dad of Nick Brecken is what the message says.
Thanks, son. Okay.
Yeah, I'm inclined to believe that among
Nick's
the
dad-
audience of people,
Oh.
well, I'm inclined to believe Nick's dad would die, but in the game, I mean, but I'm inclined to believe that someone who actually had the interest and like motivation to play through one of these games probably could.
It's not, the question isn't could somebody, the question is can literally everybody? And I think the answer to that is no. I think physiologically,
Wow.
I think
Wow.
I think
Wow.
physiologically.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Randian gamer
Wow,
Nick
okay.
Brecken.
No. Fine. I disagree.
Not everyone is born great. Not
Yeah.
everyone is going to
We
play
can't
Dark
all
Souls.
Not
Let's
everyone's
be
a true
honest.
gamer. Not everyone's a true gamer, Jake.
No.
Wow.
Not
Yeah, but
everybody's
you
a true
could be a
gamer.
better one with these grips.
Well,
they
maybe with
could.
the grips. If they have the grips, I'll consider changing my stance. Anyway.
I think
Stupid
we've all-
question.
we've all-
Objectivist
stupid
capitalist.
question.
We've all learned
Nick
something
Brecken.
about Nick Brecken here today.
Well,
Thanks, Nick.
you're welcome.
Not everyone
you're
is
welcome.
born great, but if you buy my gamer
You should be
grips-
welcome.
What?
All right.
Anyway, your dad's dead.
Jesus. ACM writes, longtime listener, very casual gamer, although I was obsessed with Myst in grad school.
That does not make
Grade
you
school?
not a casual gamer, buddy. Sorry. Wow, that was a little harsh. Sorry.
Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
you and Nick, you two
Whoa.
guys are really
Casual
laying it-
gamer, but I like Myst. Anyway, whatever. They're a friend of the show.
Wow. Jesus,
If
Jake.
they had those grips, right?
Jake just laying the, yeah.
What?
Whoa, no.
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Anyway,
Podcast got to end.
Yeah.
I've always liked when you jump off from random games and related musing about various things about life, so I'm open to your new podcast being a great new way to hang with what feel like old friends. Of course, maybe I'll just hate you in another month. Anyway, here's some
Now that I
pictures
said the thing about Myst.
Now, here's some pictures I found online that are very close to how I pictured you guys very early on before I ever saw pictures of you. And the reason I'm reading this now is because the 4 people he chooses to include are Chris, Jake, Nick, and Spaff.
Okay.
So he describes each one of us, and then I will show you the photo reference he has assembled. Chris, a bit of a California hipster, colored by his musical frame of reference. Jake, just a high-energy geek.
That's me.
Nick, hardcore, no babies tolerated. Might be very buff in person.
Whoa.
Wow. All right.
Spaff, a jocular Brit with a mop of curly hair. I'm sure I have images of other contributors, but these are the only ones I can still recall. Thought you'd be amused, ACM. So here's me. I am definite, like, modern hipster, like, lumberjack
Very handsome
man.
and rugged.
Yeah, huge beard,
Yeah.
lots, long hair.
I've seen these.
Yep.
Jake's is hilarious. Jake looks like a Jake looks like a PewDiePie. He looks like a
millennial
Nordic or
YouTuber.
Swedish
Wait,
YouTuber.
he looks like the other guy's drawing of him. He looks like the forehead pro guy.
He's got thick-rimmed glasses, but there's no glass in there.
Are you trying to
Yeah.
expose? Are you trying to
and
show
then
this to me? It's not on the camera.
Nick looks like like a sort of
Here's me.
like a European hitman.
Yeah,
like
I do. I
buzz
basically
cut
look like a
hitman
hitman
guy,
rebel.
except wearing like a pink tie and like like really loud clothing.
Yeah.
It's like if that
Wow.
guy, if the sort of European cut hitman was like not trying to not be
Right.
noticed. That is what Nick looks like.
Yeah, when Agent
hoping
47
someone will notice
dresses
him
up
secretly.
as
Right.
the ice cream guy, and it just obviously
They're
still a murderer.
hoping he'll notice.
Yeah.
They'll notice his muscles like bulging out of his tailored shirt.
Right.
Is what he's
I just look
hoping.
like Doctor Who.
And then
Rejection Doctor Who.
Spaff just looks like BBC man, or
BBC
BBC like drama man.
oh yeah,
Yeah, he just,
Benedict Cumberbatch style. Oh man, if I grew my hair, I probably would be a bit like that.
This yours is actually the closest to what you could actually look like.
Yep.
If you had a tighter stubble on your beard and more
hair,
like an inch or more hair, this is what you'd look close enough to this. So anyway, that's what we look like.
Thanks.
I heard.
And then he was incredibly disappointed when he
Yeah.
tuned into this cast.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Nick's not as buff as I thought he was.
All right, so Izzy writes,
Is
"Hey
who?
Thumbs, getting into how Nick would only play Solar Jetman in the comfort of his homemade cockpit, I too put a stupid restriction on myself, albeit nowhere as adorable as Nick's. Mine with Mortal Kombat. This is a good thing. When I was about 8 years old, for some stupid reason, I thought that if I did not scratch an itch on my body, a magical portal would open up and I would enter Mortal Kombat and choose my own power. I thought that if you did something really hard to do, like not scratching an itch, it would show great promise and I would be chosen.
True
It
gamer.
never occurred to me that the fighters are chosen for being the best in the world, incredibly brutal, and I would get fucking destroyed in seconds. I just really wanted to get in there and beat the shit out of Johnny Cage. Whenever I did accidentally scratch an itch, I'd get really bummed and think, maybe that was the time and I ruined it. I'm looking forward to hearing the new podcast. I've been listening since you guys first started, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Peace out and keep your bones healthy, Izzy. I love
Keep
that sign off,
scratching.
by the
Yeah.
way.
What is
Keep
that?
your bones healthy. I don't know. I love it. I love it.
Important.
No, that's all around. That could be one of the greatest emails we've ever been sent.
That's definitely true.
It seems like the kind of thing Chris would
I wish that
do.
he lived, that his fantasy world was the fictional universe of Mortal Kombat, but it was just all about these incredibly brutal, ripped fighters, and just to like warm up, there's just a stream of like very dedicated 8-year-olds showing up through portals, and they just like tear their arms off and smash them into pulp, and they're like, oh, I'm ready to fight.
They're really itchy though. As soon as
I'm really itchy, but
as soon as I get there, they're like, holy shit, I made it. Oh, thank God. Oh.
Fatality. Finish him.
Oh no! I was too busy itching.
Yeah. God, I love the incredible specificity of that. That is totally the kind of thing that, like, it's like a much more hilarious good version of what I was talking about last week, where you just invent like these rules in your head, and the more you think about it, the more your brain is just like, well, I've been thinking this for like 3 years. It's definitely true. Like everyone knows. And then you let it slip
he would have shit
to
himself
another
if he was
kid
in
and-
Mortal Kombat because he didn't scratch himself. I think. I think that's an understatement.
The world that Steve was describing, where there is just like a warm-up area where like 9-year-old kids keep popping into Mortal Kombat to get wrecked, is like that's why a 90s mom tells you to not play video games, and also weirdly would they be like, don't scratch that itch, and you're like, oh no, I can't, like like don't pick at that scab or whatever.
Right,
then,
or you'll be sent to Mortal Kombat and Johnny
like,
Cage will rip your head off.
Yeah, no, but it's a conundrum because it's like you don't want to be playing these violent games and you don't want to get dismembered, but also you don't want to pick at that scab, and the kid's like, but if I don't itch it, I'm going to go there.
Right.
And then Johnny Cage is going to fucking tear my head off.
Well, that's just what a really sadistic parent does, where you're like, every time you get an itch, you've got to make a choice.
Yeah. You either get beamed into Mortal Kombat world.
If you do scratch the itch, you're going to give yourself a terrible disease. And if you don't scratch the itch, you're going to go to Mortal Kombat land.
Let me tell you about the tale of babalities. Children.
I heard that was a myth. Some kid brought printout codes of those to my school, but they didn't work, and that was me. I did it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I talked about
like
that
as a goof. I don't remember.
No,
this.
I just downloaded. Like it was like off of like early AOL. Someone posted all of the codes to Mortal Kombat, but it just had like 3x the number of actual codes, and I excitedly brought them to school and gave them to a kid whose parents let them have Mortal Kombat. And like I printed it out all nice, and like it had a little logo that I found on it.
Of course you did.
Yeah,
you were still
Did you laminate it?
Yeah.
No, I didn't laminate it, but I think the front was on a different colored piece of paper.
Whoa.
God,
but anyway, none of those codes worked, so it's fine.
I did print out Civilization like lists of units and stuff that I laminated at
Nice.
my
That you
school.
laminated? Did you
Yeah.
pin them to the wall? Oh, you took them to school.
I took them to school because I just used the like a teacher's lamination machine or something. I can't even remember how that worked.
And then you had the codes forever.
Yep. Well, it wasn't codes. It was just like first you like a spearman leads to the like fucking
So you could, like,
Triwing or
memorize
whatever. That's
the-
not how it works. But
Tech tree.
yeah, it was literally just the tech tree that I. Yeah, it was pointless and stupid. Okay, let's see. Issa writes,
Issa.
Hi, Thumbs. I've really enjoyed Idle Thumbs over the years and wish the best for your new podcast. I'm sure I'll find the new one as enjoyable as Idle Thumbs. My favorite part of Idle Thumbs is the elaborate digressions into your imaginations, and I don't think you'll be able to curb that habit. Around the time Metal Gear Solid came out, I watched my brother play quite a bit of it. Eventually, I played it myself when it came out on the GameCube. When I played Metal Gear Solid 4, I had a potent surge of nostalgia when I reached the fourth act, which was set in the old ruined location of the original Metal Gear Solid. I'd never experienced this feeling when playing old games years later. I only had real-life experiences to compare with this kind of nostalgia that Metal Gear Solid 4 made me feel. Like when I visited my elementary school for the first time in many years, and many of the buildings had been replaced, but there was still a mural I remember playing near when I was younger. So my question is, have games ever produced substantial nostalgia for you? Thanks for over 300 hours of insight and absurdity, and good luck on the next 300. Also, I hope episode 300 includes all Thumbs Emeritus and guests, or just Nick Brecken. Best, Issa, or Feet Hands Face when Nick is playing a From Software game.
We're trying to get all the hosts. Hopefully Danielle
We're
actually
trying.
shows up.
Danielle is...
It's Danielle's birthday though, so happy birthday, Danielle.
Happy birthday, Danielle.
yeah.
Happy birthday.
She's here in spirit, but she's got better things to do, like have a birthday.
Like-
Yes.
Man. Go ahead.
I was gonna say there's games that try and do that to you, like Diablo. Like you'll go back to Tristram or something, and Diablo 3, like the town from Diablo 1, it's all wrecked, but you know you can kind of remember what it was like, and that's cool. WoW, when that first came out, World of Warcraft, which you hate, Chris, but
I don't hate it.
Chris played the shit out of that.
Yeah,
when
I
it first
played.
came out.
I went
Yeah.
like 6 months of playing that game like hard.
you love it. I was wrong. That game was cool because it was interesting because it went from the RTS Warcraft 3 into World of Warcraft, and they rebuilt some of the scenes from the other game, and then you could go there, and you know they were all big, and you're walking around in them, like specifically walking into the Undercity at the.
The Undead
It's like the
Zone.
Fallen Kingdom,
Yeah.
and you get to see it. You know, you've seen it in the original cutscenes and stuff in the first game where the wizard crow man comes and talks to the king and stuff. But then you get to kind of walk around it in this crazy wrecked version of it. And in that they play on your they play on your nostalgia by kind of having samples of sound effects as you walk through that landscape. They kind of have these distant
an
echoes
echoey
and
Gandalf
stuff.
say, "You shall not pass."
Well, kind of. There's like people cheering and little noises and stuff. And it's cool that they do that. It's a nice effect, But then there's different games. Like I've definitely had it if I'll load up Quake 1 and walk around DM4 for a bit and be like, man, this is crazy in here. Like I spend so much time in this place.
The most potent one of those for me, which was clearly intended by its designers, was in, and I've talked about it on this podcast before, I think was in the end of Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, when you finally get to the spire of Hyrule Temple, Palace, whatever, the big one in the middle of all the maps, sticking out of the water, go inside of it, and it's just like dusty and abandoned, and it has this like really slow, sort of like mournful arrangement of the music that plays when you're busting Zelda out of the beginning of Link to the Past, like the castle theme, but it's just like this like half tempo one, and there's like little bits of sunlight coming in from above the ocean, and then out the windows you can see the green Hyrule does actually exist sort of underneath the depths of the sea, and you're just wandering around in there, and there's what to me feels like solid minutes of no enemy encounters, and like that, like the layout was obviously very different from the Super Nintendo level, but like the color palette was the same, and the music was like it was the same melody line. It was an arrangement of the same song, and like that hit me really directly of just like, oh, I remember when I was like, it did the thing that I think they really wanted you to feel of like because the stupid Zelda lore that no Links are the same, that it's actually a different kid who dresses up the same way and goes on the same goddamn adventure over and over again, which is the stupidest lore. But
no, I think it's great.
It's fine.
Because it's like,
it was dumb until Wind Waker. I feel like Wind Waker was the game that actually did it right by having you as the little kid on
Was it even like defined until Wind Waker at all, though?
Yes,
okay.
It was.
All right.
Like all the manuals were like a long time before the previous game that you played, this story happened. It's like, okay, it's just the same one. But like, yeah, Wind Waker started with you as the little kid who doesn't want to put on his Link costume on the official birthday when kids dress as Link, but then it doesn't end with that, but that's like the big like crux of the game is like you feel like for the first and only time in a Zelda game, I actually felt like the sort of ghosts of all of the past Zelda games existing in that space, and that was really well executed.
Yeah.
That was, of course, immediately either before or after having to fetch quest like 30 Triforce pieces out of chests on a map I didn't know that I needed to use.
Yeah.
But whatever.
We
that
beat
moment,
that together.
That moment you and I were just like being like wrecked by that happening.
We put it aside for like a year and decided like we're just going to go and grind through this stupid ocean.
Yeah, it was totally worth it for that moment for me. Like that's
me
like
too.
That's like mega potent game moment.
I would never have got past that moment if it wasn't for our friend Lawrence, who was like, no, you have to, it's so good after that bit, and he just played that bit for me while I watched. And he's like, I will get the bits. I will do this boring bit. Thank you, Lawrence.
I mean, you mentioned Diablo, and I definitely, I mean, just hearing the Tristram theme from the original Diablo is nostalgia overload for me. I don't have that with a lot of games, but that, I mean, it transports me in a sensory manner instantly to like specific year, specific place, specific frame of mind. Everything about it is so palpable and like crystalline. And that music still does that for me. I haven't played the actual Diablo 1 game in a while, but when Nick was talking about playing it recently, just like hearing him talk about it instantly brought all that back.
I thought it was really cool that Far Cry 2 included the entire map of Far Cry 1 up in the northeast corner.
Something I've thought about on that level is as a game developer and a level designer, like going back and playing stuff that you worked on can be really intense in that way. Like I've thought about how I bet that I have a similar level of recall of like the exact layout and placement of things in both houses I grew up in as a child and levels that I worked on as a level designer. And there's just this feeling of like, if you do work on something and you go back years later and play it, it has that kind of transportative quality of being like, oh my God, I'm thinking about all those hundreds of hours that I spent in that office making this thing and the people that were around, and oh right, this was here, you know. It can be really strange.
I hadn't thought about that, but that is entirely true of me. When on the few times that I've gone back into like playing Firewatch, either for like a stream or because I'm answering someone's tech support ticket and I have to wander halfway across the map, the like history of that world that only I know as the person who grayboxed it is so strange to experience, and like I have nostalgia for paths that don't exist anymore because they got play tested out, or like an area that I in my brain knew that I was going to build out and never did, or like I look at something and in my brain see the gray box version of it and the real version of it, or whatever else, or like not knowing that the time of day system supported, like or just seeing an area at a time that you'd never seen it before, but then that like strange like that memory is a weird one that cannot exist for anyone else, and even if you tried to tell them about it, it wouldn't make sense.
Now.
You're doing it.
Yeah, like
I
now.
mean, but like the specifics of it. I would be like, oh, you used to be able to hike north of the like no one would be able to see the thing that I saw in my brain that I never fully put in the game or that we had to take out. This actually reminds me that JP LeBreton is doing a game called Autobiographical Architecture that seems like it's actually specifically about what you were talking about, Steve, where it's like is like his childhood home and school intermixed with like Doom maps that he made when he was younger, mixed with game design work from his life. The trailer for that was really good.
Did you play it?
I haven't played it. I just saw the trailer.
It's cool. I mean, it's interesting. Yeah. That's an interesting thing you guys bring up. I mean, Firewatch was pretty recent for us.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have stuff that goes back as far as you guys, but I'm like probably the first game I worked on in which I had that level of like sort of importance was The Cave, which was when I was at Double Fine, and I haven't played it. Like I literally haven't loaded it up since we shipped it, and so thinking about the thought of doing that now is like weird and sort of overwhelming and like almost kind of terrifying.
No, I know tons of people who ship games and never play them again. They can't bear to go back for whatever reason. And
I mean, I just like I remember all of the like arguments we had about what was going to go in it and the choices we made, and like
not pass when you play the game.
That's Jake's main memory when he experiences.
It's just an echoing Gandalf.
He just can't help but think of Gandalf.
He just always
There were all those Gandalf statues I had snuck into Firewatch that people made me take out, but now when I wander the world, I think that was where that huge Gandalf was. That was
well,
where
actually,
that
what you
tiny
think
one
is you shall not pass. But that's a stand-in for...
Yeah, I mean, well, they all had little speakers in them and said that.
Right.
They had
that was our original commentary mode.
Yeah, it
was every commentary mode,
wizard
you would press
mode.
the button and it would say, you shall not pass.
Yeah, it was like an old like .au file. So there's a... when Gandalf would sort of open his mouth and go... and then some sound would come out.
Yep.
That's
Gandalf.
True. We cut that mode, and I'm nostalgic for it. Whenever I play,
when you explain this to someone, they wouldn't know it. They wouldn't even know it.
They wouldn't understand it. Yeah, it's just not the same.
Yeah.
This is the sort of experience you get only as a game developer.
It's an exclusive.
Man, we have blasted through so much of this bag. I don't even know if we have much more left in the bag.
The bag is depleted.
I think we're depleting the bag. I think we're scraping the bottom of the bag here.
Scraping the bottom of the bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that might be it for the bag.
Oh my God.
Unless you had a question, Steve.
Yeah, Steve, what's your question?
For questions at idlethumbs.net?
Yeah, you can quickly send one in.
Oh, I guess he doesn't.
Nope. Okay.
No, I don't.
That was your one chance.
I'm here to get my bag blasted, not to
blast a bag.
add content into the bag.
Yeah. If your bag's being blasted, the last thing you want to do is put... I don't know where I'm going with that. Jesus. Thanks for listening. You can like us on iTunes or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that'll wrap it up. I mean, this has been a pretty long podcast. We were hoping to have Danielle on here. Jake and Nick and I need to stick around to take care of some stuff. So if Danielle appears, we will record a separate little capsule recording that we will append to this.
Danielle moment, a re-endowment.
Sean
isn't here to say that, which he would have said. So
That's true.
That's true.
Thought I would say
no,
it.
that's fair enough.
Done.
And if she doesn't make it on tonight, we'll just have to release a blast in the future where we can say hello to Danielle.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, thanks for
Danielle's new like elaborate marketing campaign that Sterling Cooper has unveiled.
Say hello to Danielle.
Say hello to Danielle.
Danielle actually sounds like what someone would have named a product
Yeah.
in that era. And it's like, oh, it's like the Volkswagen Danielle. It's like approachable and fun. Say hello. Anyway, thanks for joining us on Idle Thumbs 300. We will continue to, we don't have a schedule for how often we're going to be putting out Idle Thumbs episodes, but I think we're planning on it doing one like in 2 weeks already.
Yep.
So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how much email we get. Continue sending video game related email to questions@idlethumbs.net. And, just depending on how we're feeling and how much mail we get there and how much time we have and all sorts of other things, we will release more episodes of this podcast. We are also, as of now, we are releasing our new, I say as of now, if you're listening to the podcast version as of Thursday. If you're watching this live on Twitch, you got to wait a couple days. But we are releasing our new podcast, Important If True, featuring myself and Nick and Jake. And if you go to importantiftrue.com, you can find a link to its iTunes page, to the RSS feed to subscribe on the podcast reader of your choice. And video episodes will be on YouTube and linked from that page, embedded on that page as well. Importantiftrue.com. Please give it a shot, and please do help spread the word if you like that show after listening to the first episode, because as I said at the beginning of this podcast, we are starting over with the audience there. We're hoping a lot of you will join us, but we are definitely going to take a huge listener hit, guaranteed, and only with your help can we actually build that thing up and hopefully turn it into something that has some legs and that
are autonomous and
yes.
marching in
Cannot
the
be
homes.
knocked over.
Yes, cannot be kicked. Yes, exactly. To help us sort of support Idle Thumbs and everything we're doing while we kind of take this risk and go out on a limb there, we have launched a Patreon. This is a brand new thing for us. We've been thinking about doing this for a while, and the thing that finally pushed us over the edge was the realization that, oh wow, we still have all of these costs involved with running all this show, but we don't know if we're actually going to make any money once we launch a new podcast. So if what we do is important to you, and if you value the podcast that we've been releasing on and off for the last 8 years, and if you would like us to keep doing it, please consider. And obviously, we completely understand that lots of people, this is just not like the thing that they can spare money towards. Absolutely no worries. But if you can spare it, and if you think you would like to help us support this weird project, go to patreon.com/idlethumbs. We have currently 3 tiers there. Maybe we'll put more if we can think of weird, goofy rewards. But if you back at the $5 level, you will get an ad-free RSS feed of the Important If True podcast. So you'll get new episodes of our new show without ads. And if you back
10% off in our store.
That's right.
Because why not?
Because why not? We just threw that in there because why not? And if you back at $9 or higher, you will get the ad-free podcast feed, of course. You will get 15% off in the store. How about that? That's 50% more off. And you will...
as someone in chat pointed out, that is potentially an infinite increase in savings.
That is exactly right. There's no limit to how much that could save you. And
all you need to do is spend infinite amount of money in our store.
Yes,
each month.
And for the night, why not? You could save also infinite amount of money.
If people did that would be really helpful.
Well, then we would be fine.
Yeah.
And if also at the $9 level, we will send you every month a new unique postcard design. So we will have
those are going to be really good and dumb.
Yeah, Jake now is just committing to designing a bunch of postcards once a month for however long we do this. And if you get on the ground floor, you will be able to have all of them.
It's also our plan to put other miscellaneous weird stuff out on that feed and up on that site.
As we have ideas.
But we'll figure that out.
Yeah, stay tuned for more on that. We're just brainstorming dumb ideas.
Also,
and,
thank you everyone who has asked for a Patreon or for an ad-free feed or for a way to directly support us for basically the last 6 years, and we just kept saying no like idiots.
Yeah,
we're doing it now. Now that Idle Thumbs is at 300, and we're starting a new show instead. So please go visit that.
Yeah, we would not have the confidence to do that if people did not actually tell us they wanted it.
Over and over again, and we just kept not listening like smart people.
So, I mean...
business sense.
On that note, thank you to everyone who contributed to our Kickstarter way back in 2012. That meant the world to us, and it is the thing that has allowed us to sort of get this company, because it weirdly is a company, going over the years, and now we're trying to make it a more sustainable entity that can actually have predictable revenue over time and just make sure that we don't go into debt or anything like that. So patreon.com/idlethumbs. That was a really long spiel. I'm sorry about that. I'll wrap it up. Patreon.com/idlethumbs is where you can go if you would like to support us directly. ImportantIfTrue.com has the information on our new show, and questions@idlethumbs.net is where you can continue to send email about video games for new episodes of Idle Thumbs, or any of the weird sort of culture and technology stuff we're going to be talking about on Important If True. And when you listen to that episode, you'll hear more of the kind of stuff that we talk about there. It's not that different than the stuff we talk about on Idle Thumbs, let's be honest. Sorry, that went on a really long time. Anyone else have any stuff?
Jake? Do I have anything else? No, I mean, I guess not.
Oh, whoa.
I was going to say some really sentimental, nice things to everyone,
do it.
but no, I'm not going to.
Wow, you just put that rug
on
out
behalf
there
of
just to
Jake.
pull it
I
out.
really appreciate. No, I don't have anything.
Wow, you guys.
Also not.
No, I don't know.
Spaff, do you have anything to not say?
Fuck Nick.
No. Please, we've already established the fuck. We're in the fuck Chris timeline right now. I don't want to hear it.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. We'll be back on this feed probably in 2 weeks. Do not unsubscribe because there will be more. We'll be back this week and onward at importantiftrue.com.
I got a little bit worked up for a second. And then I went, oh Jesus! Right after we finished recording this, the three of us are going to record another podcast, and I'm going to do that every week until I die. So,
Why say goodbye?
Yeah, why say goodbye? Say hello
Jake.
to
Danielle.
To Danielle.
Hello, Danielle.
Hi guys.
Danielle.
It's my birthday.
It happened.
Happy birthday!
Hey, happy
Thanks.
birthday, Danielle.
Anyway,
Well, it's
goodbye.
still my birthday on the West Coast. It's just became not my birthday on the East Coast.
Oh
so.
yeah, it's like 7 minutes into your new year.
Yes. Into my new age.
How's it
Very
going?
exciting. It's great. It's awesome. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to see you all in your beautiful orange new room.
Yeah.
It's really exciting. Is the
know.
seafood couch somewhere
No,
still?
actually-
Seafood couch is dead.
Well,
Wow.
What did you do for your
Jake
birthday
is bringing-
tonight?
I saw John
Jake's
Vick.
got a remnant of the seafood.
Oh my
kept
God.
one cushion from the seafood couch.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so glad. It needs a warm butt to be happy, so I'm very happy.
That's so true. So
Yeah.
true. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Should we do one more reader mail now that Danielle's
Do you
here?
have one?
I mean, I could dig one up.
Did you keep a secret reader mail just in case?
We should make Danielle answer all of the reader mails we already
Yeah, we
answered.
go all the way back.
One was
to
about how do you feel about
the,
mirrors?
do the lightning round.
mirrors and games.
How do you feel about mirrors? Guy itching himself and
Your brother's safe was erased, but he likes you anyway.
Oh, Nick's dad died.
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
You missed a lot. Yeah.
I apparently did. But, happy to be back in the fray.
All right, so Joe writes. This is actually continues on from this reminiscing. Joe writes, "Hey Thumbs, I discovered Idle Thumbs via 3 Moves Ahead. After hearing Rob Zachney's austere good evening, this is 3 Moves Ahead, hundreds of times, I wasn't sure what to expect from you guys. My first exposure was Sean talking about wax teeth. I have since listened to every episode. A few episodes ago, you guys were doing a mic check, and one of you unleashed one of the meatiest belches I've ever heard. At least top 10. This was weird for me to admit because I am absolutely not a fan of such humor. but it really made me appreciate the quality of your setup in an unexpected way. So as a question, do you have a favorite on-air moment, a discussion or particular conversational derailment that you're especially proud of?
Oh, wow.
Looking forward to the new show. Congrats to all of you, especially Nick, Joe from New Jersey.
Thanks. It's a good one.
Especially
it's a good one for
It's a
the
good
group
one for the group, yeah.
I have a favorite one.
Oh, go for it.
For sure.
Yeah.
It was a reminiscence about dreams between Nick and Chris. I think it was episode, I don't remember the number, but it was Kilo was here.
Oh, man. Yes.
yeah.
And there was a very specific memory. I think it started with a Nick dream about Chris, saying like Kilo, who is Chris, Kilo is here. And there's like a whole elaborate story. And then Chris, I think you told your story about the farting skeleton.
Yes.
Was that?
Oh, yeah.
That was actually a separate episode.
I think that was the next episode.
Because there was Kilo is
That was a
here,
follow-up
and then it was
thing.
followed with, and that's
Yeah.
why skeletons fart that way, which was another.
Right.
So this is
Right.
key, crucial dream content.
Yeah.
It was a horrifying nightmare where like it was somebody close to you, like an aunt or something. It was like sitting on your bed, but all of a sudden there was a skeleton.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Farted, and you were like, no, they're trying to trick me. That's why skeletons don't fart like that. And you got super mad and it was a really special time.
Yeah.
That one, I think I may have hurt myself laughing at probably both of those.
So Kilo is here is Idle Thumbs episode 165. And then Idle Thumbs episode 167 was, and that's why skeletons fart that way.
Okay.
And then in between those two
Dreamcast?
was Cyberpunk Cop Killer. And that was another fun one. So,
perfect.
so you got a good trio of Danielle episodes there, including outrageous shit.
Really special time.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a Wizard Jam game called "And That's Why Skeletons Fart That Way"?
I don't.
Because that
No, I
seems
don't
like
think so.
a classic
Yeah.
in the making.
Weirdly, there.
Why
Yeah,
not?
I don't know.
Well,
why.
next Wizard Jam, you guys know your mission.
Yeah. Really need a skeleton farting simulator. That's what's missing out of my life. And
no.
God, all these farting simulators, not game.
Anyone else have any standout cast memories?
I enjoy that time where we were just clapping all the time. It's applauding.
Oh, that was
we had to
great.
clap
Yeah.
for like timing the microphone.
I wasn't on that episode.
When you, it was the best. We just like all applauding each other.
Danielle was there, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think it was before.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah, it was me and
Yeah.
Nick,
It
Danielle.
made it have a really
I
good
remember
weird
that stupid
spirit to
moment.
it.
Yeah, we just sort of ended up applauding like anytime anyone said anything
Yeah.
notable.
That's a good feel good.
I think it was every time anybody like swore or did something weird that we had to mark to
Yeah.
be removed.
Yeah. And then we all got excited and would just clap as well.
Yeah.
You know the reasoning for it. We're just like, hey, somebody's clapping. We should clap. It was special.
That was very good.
Yeah.
I liked all those times early on in the run when the cops came and arrested us. Oh, it's memorable. It was a wonderful moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why Idle Thumb stopped broadcasting for a while because you guys were all in jail.
We were in jail.
Yeah.
Then we busted out.
Yep.
Or did we?
We're still in there trying to play Dark Souls.
I think my favorite one line in all of Idle Thumbs was actually, it's kind of a cheat because it got memorialized in a previously on recap, but it was in Idle Thumbs 11 Part 1 when Steve said, I was in a Best Buy and it was like I was in a Guitar Hero World Tour warehouse, except that they happened to be selling camcorders.
Yeah.
And like, and that was like so good.
Yeah.
That was my favorite
That's very good.
single line of dialogue written for Idle Thumbs by Steve's brain.
Yeah.
You know, and also all the other episodes. I love all the episodes the same. I like when Chris says video games,
Yeah.
When do I say that?
like every episode.
I did like some of the very when the songs got very baroque, like the ballad of Bobby Kotick, multiple voices and effects.
My favorite moment, maybe it's a really stupid moment, but
Nice.
it was very good to be in the room for this moment, as opposed to like, I don't know if it's my favorite on podcast moment, but certainly
Right.
recording it was my favorite moment. Was when you read that stupid suckbox letter and you played the piano at the same time, or
No, you're
that was
combining
Green
two
Lantern as
different
the
things.
blindfolded
Oh,
fool.
sorry. Whatever the time was, I just remember,
Yeah.
like, I didn't know what it was, I think, and you were like, hold on, I'm going to try something. You just, like, pulled out your piano, and you were like, you and Jake, just go over there. Just get out of here. We were like, what? And you just started reading this thing and going, like, bum, 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 and God, I remember...
Flashes, God, loud.
Well, I think the recording of that is probably really bad because
Batman is Cyrax.
we were just fucking, like, losing our shit.
No, it came out on the podcast pretty well.
Yeah, did it? Okay.
Yeah, because the
I don't go back and listen to my old...
the keyboard
or,
was
you know,
straight into the board, and I was going right into a mic.
Right.
Yeah, that is Idle
Yeah.
Thumbs episode 8.
God,
Green
8.
Lantern is
Number
the
8.
blindfolded fool. Yeah, that's a good poll. That was a really fun one.
Yeah.
I think my favorite one was probably Idle Thumbs episode 43, Jeff Gone Goldblum, when you opened with an anecdote about encountering Jeff Goldblum in an airport and deciding not to steal his shoes, even though you could have, and then we somehow just devolved into some kind of like
word madness?
delirious, like phonetic madness around Jeff Goldblum's name. It was so
That was a
like
really weird,
impossibly
surreal moment.
moronic in a way that I really like enjoyed.
This reminds me that I'm almost done with my horrible edit of the pre-roll and post-roll of every episode of Idle Thumbs.
Oh man, yeah.
So
get ready for this.
So at the end of this episode, in audio form, there's gonna be. This episode's a huge download, and you're probably like, "Man, I'm only halfway through the episode." This is sorry to say that the other. I'm glad that we're going out on an outrageous nostalgia question, because if you don't give a shit about listening to a million just weird, depraved goofs from us before the microphone was on, you don't need to keep listening.
Stop now.
Yeah. But if you want to listen to basically an hour of just garbage, it starts with the pre-roll of episode 1, and then it has the pre-roll of episodes 2 through maybe 300 if you give me the audio files of whatever your edit is, and then it rolls back through after the episode is over content from 300 back down to 1. So it's a lot of audio, and none of it is about anything. But you'll definitely hear most of the things we just said ended up in it, because secretly all the good stuff is
in the pre-roll,
is in the pre-roll and post-roll and in the break. So
wait, you're doing the breaks?
No. Oh my god, no.
That would be insane.
All the ads, guys. Every ad is back.
Oh, good.
Ad episode. Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a good reminiscing.
Yeah.
Glad we had I waited till Danielle was here to do that one.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I'm sorry I
Oh, that's okay. It was your
was a little
birthday.
delayed there.
No worries.
Yeah.
Celebrating.
Well, I guess now we can take off for real. Danielle can get some sleep, and we will leave you in the hands of Jake's weird monstrosity that he has edited together.
Good.
Leaving you in the hands of my weird monstrosity. Thus concludes,
In the hands of his weird monstrosity. Perhaps the title of this podcast.
Thus concludes this bag blast.
Thanks for joining us on Idle Thumbs episode 300. Our website is idlethumbs.net. Our new podcast is importantiftrue.com. Our Patreon is patreon.com/idlethumbs. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/idlevideos. Thank you so much for listening to 300, actually many more than 300 episodes of this podcast. We will be back in 2 weeks, and our new show starts now.
Happy birthday, Danielle.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Danielle.
birthday, Danielle.
And congratulations,
Danielle.
Nick.
Oh, thank you.
I like that Nick is consistently looking over
There's
there.
so much stuff for me to look at.
I know.
Not so much for you guys. But there are 3 people,
Could you-
a billion microphones, 16 cameras, a giant television, a timer, like, fucking Salacious Crumb, paintings, orange foam.
It's
It's
real.
300. It's over
Calm
now.
down.
It's
It's
over.
fine.
It's too much.
Chill.
Too much.
I feel
We
like
gotta
we
shut
could
it
just
down. No!